We have an exciting. Please make some noise for Darkstar. We are just over 30 minutes away from the start. Our teams are getting warmed up.
Good morning and welcome back to Loughborough. Day 2 of action here, opening weekend, and we are delighted to start with the MAAREE Women's Super League. Michael Hanson-Morris, Jess Smith. Jess, thrilling day yesterday in the men's side, and the women are going to bring all the power and energy as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. So finished out the day really strong last night, so hopefully we start off strong today, and I'm sure that the women are going to bring lots of entertainment value in the 4 matches that we've got coming up.
Yeah, our first game here, Darkstar Derbyshire take on Durham. We'll talk about that a bit later, but Jess, let's look back about last season to start with. Dramatic scenes, but MAAREE Eagles, the dominant team, and swept everything, losing just 1 game last year.
Yeah, really impressive performance from them last year. It's going to be really tough to match that this season, whether that's them or another team. I know that there's a few teams out here this year that are looking to knock them off of that top spot.
Indeed, and obviously the newcomers, Newcastle Knights, got promoted last season. They will face MAAREE Eagles in game number 3 on the schedule. That's a really exciting challenge for Newcastle straight off the bat.
Oh yeah, definitely, and it's exciting and almost takes a little bit of pressure off them. It's opening day. They're the newcomers into the league. They're taking on the league champions. At the front end of the season, before there's a clamor for points. I say that knowing that there's going to be fewer matches this season, and every point is going to count.
Indeed, and obviously we've got the London Derby on deck as well. London Lionhearts, the surprise of last season, the newly promoted team running straight into the top 4. Obviously a coaching change this summer, but just how impressive was that Lionhearts performance last season?
Oh yeah, really, really great. Really love to see a newly promoted team make it all the way to that Final 4. They had so much grit and determination last year, but they've had a lot of changes this season, so we'll see how that turns out for them.
And obviously we know what to expect from team side out as well. Established group, but a lot of changes, so that London Derby straight off the bat is going to be probably the real talking point of today's action.
Oh yeah, I think that's my match of the day for me. That's the one that I'm most looking forward to, so excited to be on comms for that one.
Okay, but obviously 8 teams in action. We're going to break them all down now, Jess, and we're going to start with the Leeds Gorse. Obviously a complete new look roster, velocity change, a coaching change. So what are the expectations for Leeds this year? Because it is almost like start from scratch.
Yeah, it really is. So they've obviously taken a turn to focus specifically on their youth development. So they've got a lot of really young players in their squad. So I think for them, this is almost kind of like a rebuild season. We might not see the best performances from them. They might not make it. They might, potentially get relegated this season, but they're setting themselves up for future performance, and I'm sure that we'll see plenty of good things for them in the years to come.
As we are dodging the Durham warm-ups, we don't mind, we're courtside and bringing all the action. But I think for Leeds, it's interesting, that junior development group, we've seen 3 of them just go off to under-17 Nevza. We've got a few more going to under-19 Nevza next week. So that real development side, it's a really interesting philosophy that may in the long term pay off in terms of maybe not results straight away, but a career as well, really testing yourselves week in, week out against international athletes.
Yeah, completely agree with that. I think it's something that, and I mentioned this in the podcast earlier this week, something I think is really great for development of the sport in England specifically. They've got you mentioned a couple of England juniors in there, and yeah, we might see a slow start right now, but they have a really solid development program already, and it's just going to get better from here.
And actually, if you just look up there, our cameraman in the corner, the 2 head coaches of Essex and Leeds are already talking to each other. Steve McKeown and Alex Chinnery just up on the bleachers away to our right. And I think that's a really fascinating thing. So just over there, you just come with us. In that top left corner, you can see Alex Chinnery and Steve McKeown, the 2 coaches talking to each other. And that's camaraderie, obviously, the England connection of those coaches as well, working with the Nevza stuff. I think it's really great to see. And they'll be talking about some of the development and what the takeaways from Nevza were.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this is one of the great things about the volleyball community here is on the court, yes, we're competitors through and through. But off the court, volleyball really is a community. You see so much interconnection between coaches of all teams, and everybody's kind of pulling together to try and improve the sport throughout the whole country.
And indeed, and we'll talk about the Essex Rebels next. Got so close last year, upset side out in dramatic staying. That semi-final was one of the games of the season. But for Alex Chinnery, how does this team take the next step?
Yeah, I think they've lost a couple of players, they've had a few changes, but they have a really solid core this season, and they have, Chinnery obviously has a great drive for development of his team, so I'm sure that they'll have a process worked out already. They'll already know exactly what system they're going to run, and they will have a game plan for almost every eventuality.
For sure, and the one name we keep hearing out of Essex, Elena Dupre on the outside, is the one name we know. She's big vertical out of Virginia. How exciting is it that, again, the quality of athletes the Super League as a whole is being over, but what Alex Chinnery is able to do is continue that development pipeline.
Yeah, and this is something that we're seeing with a couple of other teams as well, is like the development and recruitment that's going on right now is really helping to push this league even further. We're getting closer and closer to that, peak level of performance, and this is what we want to see.
Yeah, and next up, we're going to talk about our third game, the 3:30 game, Newcastle MAAREE. We'll start with the team that newly promoted, Newcastle Knights, joining the men back in the Super League. Obviously, this is a journey when they're back in the teams on the days. Division 2 players that are now going to start, from what I understand from Sam Shenton today. So what a full circle moment for some of those players.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to definitely push them outside of their comfort zone. We're going to see lots of interesting things. That we know that they have a solid core of players that they're carrying through from last season. They've obviously got Harriet Philip Edwards, who's one of our England internationals, starting for them in that setting position, which would be great to see.
Yeah, and obviously a big English contingent, Daisy Boardman, Harriet Philip Edwards, some of the other juniors coming through. It was a real test for Sam Shenton today in terms of understanding level. This is a matchup of the cup first round last year, and MAAREE blew Newcastle off the floor, so that's a real lynch point for Newcastle. May not try and win this game, of course you're always trying to win, but can you take a set off the defending champions?
I mean, potentially. They've had a lot of changes to their lineup this season, so that'll change the face of what Newcastle are up against.
And then we'll talk about MAAREE, the defending champions. Carol Gordon always just walked in your intel. That's always in a great mood, Carol Gordon. But MAAREE, there's a lot of questions on this roster. You return a lot, but you lose the core. You lose to Alina Batista off the opposite position. You lose Georgia McGovern. There's no Grace Lazard. So as much as things are similar for MAAREE, there's a lot of change and a lot of questions.
Yeah, I think losing Grace and losing Georgia McGovern are going to be 2 really key things, because that's going to change the face of the offense of the MAAREE squad this season, which means, maybe teams that wouldn't have had a look in last season, and Newcastle specifically, might have a shout this year.
Yeah, and obviously a lot's going to depend on that core group from MAAREE, bringing through the culture, Jojo Cruz, Sophie Gisco, Chloe Allen, Ari Sierra. How important is that leadership that MAAREE have shown time and time again, and the confidence that group have got playing together, really helping bed in those new players?
it's going to be really important to make sure that they're continuing that team culture. You know, we've seen MAAREE, both the men's and the women's team, have an amazing culture. They're so together as a team when they're out on the court. So we want to see that continue, and having those returning players in some of those key positions are going to help drive that culture performance.
And then obviously we already talked about the London derby coming up. Second game today. We'll start with Team Side Out. Mark Contopoulos never happy with a third place finish. We know that from Mark. But Side Out were in a lot of games last year. They beat MAAREE, the only team to do it. They beat Essex 3-0. So they understand what it takes to win the big moments. So what do you expect to see in terms of Side Out trying to just step up again and get back to where they want to be, which is winning silverware?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Mark off air a couple of times now. He's a great coach, has a really good vision of what he wants out of his team. So it's just if they can execute on that vision, and with a couple of new signings that they've had this season, and some leavers that they've had as well, I think that it'll be interesting to see how well they come together today.
Indeed. And obviously a couple of big off-season changes. Mark talked to us in the pre-game about targeted recruitment. First year he's really targeted the big change. Alexis Diaz-Infante moving from the Rebels to Side Out, and we talked about it in the Final Four last year, and I spoke to Mark before that Final Four. They spent a lot of that week on the Tuesday in practice talking about game planning for Alexis Diaz-Infante. So what a statement of intent that is, to go out and pick up someone that you've spent a lot of time going for, saying this is a hole we need, let's go get the best version.
Oh yeah, and I mean, she was probably the key driver for that reverse sweep that Essex pulled off last season, because the fire that she showed from set 3 to 5 really turned things around. So for them to go out and recruit her just shows the amount of respect they've got for her, and I'm really excited to see what she can do with them.
And then obviously the other side of that, London Lionhearts, big off-season change. Davide Taverdi stepping down, still with the club, but Luama coming in, a ton of experience as a player on an international stage. So talk about that transition for a new coach, but when you're bringing that playing experience to the highest level, how's that going to impact that Lionhearts group?
Yeah, I think we're going to see a very different style of play from them this season, because they've got somebody that's got a slightly different perspective. That'll be interesting, as well as some of their changes, because I know, especially, you know, losing Porche through the middle is going to be a key loss for them.
I know, but when you need changes, what do you rely on? Someone that's super reliable, and we know what we're getting from Lionhearts, and that is a lot of Masha Shrivadova.
Oh yeah, but the question is, are they going to rely on her so much that every team is just going to set up for her on the block and she's going to get shut down or have to work harder? Although we did see some really good performances, you know, from Sora in the Final Fours last season, so hopefully they can keep that spread on offense.
And the other person that was really impressed in the Final Four, she's up in the bleachers already, Elena Vislien, the opposite for London Lionhearts. She had a very big semi-final, and that's a big step in her development as well. Now she's settled in, and this group have now understand what it takes to play in the Super League.
Yes, definitely, and having that experience on this stage does help, but we'll see with the change in liberos and a couple of other signings that they've got.
And now let's start to turn our attention to this first game of the MAAREE Women's Super League today. We'll start with the team over our shoulders here, the Durham Palatinates, who are just starting to get warmed up. Obviously, Durham really disappointing last season, never found the rhythm, never found any type of consistency. So what do you expect to see from Paul Welsh in this summer in terms of making that step back to winning silverware, which we did just 2 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, we've already seen just how much has happened in regards to recruitment for this team. They've brought in so many international players. They have a huge roster this season. So we might be able to see even slightly different teams week on week as the season wears on. But I'm very much expecting them to be pushing every other team that they're competing against in every point.
Yeah, and we'll obviously talk about Durham roster in the later build-up to this game. But we say depth. Maybe the biggest storyline is somehow Durham don't have 14 players here. I don't quite understand how they've not managed that. But obviously the depth, we know Paul Welsh, 22 players are going to be in this Super League roster. Yeah. So there's a lot of bedding in, and really only 2 returners. Malaya Stanton-Set is not here. So the only person back from last year is number 8, Daphne Sinar. So very much this early season is going to be important for Durham. Yes, you want to pick up results, but it's going to be difficult because you're bedding in so many new players.
Yeah, you are. However, they've had, 2 Bucks matches already? So they have already played together, which will help. So hopefully, between that and all of their preseason work, they will have had plenty of time to start to gel together as a team. But that can be a challenge for teams in general is to try and get that teamwork together from the beginning of the season.
And then the team on the other side of the net, Darkstar Derbyshire. With 2 months in the season, this team were dead and buried. This was a team going into Division 1 North, no questions about it, and then out of the blue, everything clicked, and this team were just on a storm to end the season.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see, can they start the season with the same momentum that they finished last season? Again, though, we've got a team that has lost a few players, signed some new players. I think we're going to see a lot of 1 or 2 hitters on their side of the court, but they're a bit of a wild card for me. Anything could happen today.
Yeah, but for Darkstar, keeping that core group together, we'll talk about them, Eloani, Brand, we know what we're getting from those two. We're keeping the setter consistent, but now they've added a bit more American talent through their partnership with Derby University, and that's just going to help boast the depth of this squad that maybe was the thing that was lacking in the early part of last year.
Yeah, they really struggled with substitutions last year, so having that little bit of extra depth gives them options to change things up and keep things moving.
And what do you think expectations are for Darkstar? Obviously, the new format of this Super League, so intriguing. 8 teams, bottom team automatically down, next 2 going to a relegation playoff. Do you really believe this Derby team are just finding a way to finish in 5th? Or do you think the ambition is top 4 and trying to make that big jump?
I think they have to come out with that ambition to be making top 4 from the get-go, because you've only got 8 teams in the league. You have to be pushing every point in every single match is going to be absolutely crucial, because with the new format, it could come down to, points difference, not even set difference, but down to points difference is going to determine who's in that playoff match, who's in the relegation zone. So they just have to push everything that they can. And
head-to-head is so important as well. So even the difference between a 3 and a 3-1, that might come back if these two match. I don't know when Darkstar and Durham in particular match up. If that's in February, that comes back. But these two have a lot of history last season. We had some thrillers. The game of probably one of the games of the season went under the radar last year was this matchup in the Cup quarter-final, where Darkstar pulled off a 3-1 victory in Durham, and it was a 35-33, I believe, 4th set to win it.
Yeah, that's really impressive. So it just shows that, with that little bit of extra depth, and once that team is fully gelled together, anything can happen. Different teams have different performances on the day. Certain players are on or off, and it can swing things one way or the other.
Right, we're going to take a walk round as team photos are going to happen, and I think we're going to catch up with the head coaches as we're going to do on Super League Live this year, Jess. But for you, when you look at this roster for Darkstar, have they got enough bodies? You only look at 11 names on the team sheet. Is that going to be enough to survive such a difficult Super League season?
Yeah, and I think this is where, potentially they've got some other signings that they're working on right now. We might see new players added. They've got until the 31st of January to sign new players. But with the new regulations, it can make it slightly more difficult to recruit new bodies into the team. So, depth, can they make it through the season? There's a lot going on. I don't know is the honest answer.
Yeah, and obviously every game is so important as we wait for team photos to get underway. Play underway here in about 15 minutes from Sir David Wallace Sports Hall. And it's going to be intriguing. All 4 games today on deck. What do you think teams are trying to build off this opening day? What do you think teams are trying to take away? Is it results-based, or is it really a true understanding of what you've got on the roster?
I think you've got a couple of teams that are going to be focused on the results for today, but then you've got a few other teams that are probably looking to scope out what's happening with their competition. There's so many new players out there, so many new faces that haven't been in this league before, that everybody's going to be curious about, what are other teams bringing to the fore.
Well, one person that knows it is Paul Jess. Paul, obviously, last year we talked about it a little bit on the side. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Disappointing year. Obviously, you've rebuilt recruitment. What's kind of the most exciting thing for you going into this season?
Great question. Everything. I want to say everything. So far what we've seen, we all know the women's games, a lot about the serve receive battle. We've got some great serve reception, which should allow us to run some nice offence. I've asked the girls to be creative, so hopefully we'll see some nice creative offence.
And obviously you can see in warm-ups they're having smiles on the faces. How's this group mesh? Because it's a big question when you bring in so many new faces to a building, the depth of squad you've got, that gelling process isn't always easy. So just talk about how you've gone about that.
Yeah, we have quite meticulous planning when it comes to pre-season, giving them plenty of time to train, but obviously plenty of time to do things as a team as well. So the minute they all arrived, we trained the second night they arrived. The third night they were all out doing team bonding. So it's really important that we plan that in. So yeah, and as you can see, they're loving it. They're so relaxed and enjoying it, so it's great.
And obviously, Darkstar, tough opponent. Obviously, you had some battles last year. We just talked about the Cup game in particular that went deep. What do you expect to see from a group that obviously has kept the core of its roster together?
Yeah, I mean, they'll be extremely well organised. You know, Audrey and Maz always have their teams well drilled, well organised, and it'll be another tough game, I have no doubt about it.
Cool, well, appreciate your time. We'll look at you get ready. I think your starting lines have got to go in, but I'm not sure if we've done a toss, so I don't quite know. Maybe the first error of the weekend by the referees, but we'll let them off.
It's okay, I'll blame you. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Head coach there of Paul Welsh, and indeed we managed to almost start warm-up before doing a toss.
I mean, you know, interesting to see that the commentary team is getting blamed for stuff already.
We can have some fun with it, right?
Oh, yeah. What is life in the UK if you're not getting a little bit of a stick and banter?
We'll see if we can grab one of the Darkstar coaches through warm-up. I think Audrey Cooper might be coming over. Obviously, we'll just get the toss started. Obviously, coach involved in the warm-up as well. So I suppose we probably should go listen into the coin toss and see what happens as Alice Brand and Alyssa Ruffin, the new captains, come through. Looks like both Darkstar coaches might be involved in warm-up, which might make a coaching interview a little bit tricky, Jess.
I think I'm cursed because we came down last night and I couldn't get an interview with the Richmond coach either, so kind of struggling with this one today. But just trying to find out if we can get... Okay.
I just grabbed the road Hadja. I think they're going to be a little bit busy. We'll see if we can get something started. If not, we'll talk about Darkstar anyway in a little bit more depth. So obviously, Alice Brand, Hadja Elorani, the two key outsides, they see so much volume. So how important is it that we've got a bit of depth to this Darkstar roster, that they've got other hitting options? Because these two just had to carry so much of the workload last year.
Yeah, and you know, we talked about the fact that there's 11 players on the roster right now. They've got to be able to spread the load this season. Otherwise, you're going to push two players and you're going to get yourselves in a position that if you have one injury, even if it's something not serious, but somebody's out for, say, 2 weeks or whatever, it means that you're going to put your team at a disadvantage. And with so few teams in the Super League this season, we mentioned every point counts. So they're going to have to figure out a way to get other people out there and doing some attacking.
And again, it's just how relaxed this group is. Hadja's got her own music going here. The Argentinian addition is the Canadian Jason Ichi. Naturally an outside, it looked like she's going to move to Oppo with trying to play with Brandon Elowani. So how important is it that Jason Eade steps up in a new role? Obviously, there's a little bit of pressure playing the opposite position. No serve-receive pressure.
Yeah, no serve-receive pressure, although that does give them the option to have a passing opposite if things aren't working in their service reception. So, yeah, but that does mean that you do tend to get a lot of the trash or out-of-system balls. So, plenty of focus there.
And I think the other thing, obviously, is with the new rules as well, if she is a true passer and she can pass, you can now do some funky things. You can have a passing opposite, you can move some people around on serve. So obviously the experience of Audrey Cooper and Maria Vitelli as a coaching staff for Darkstar, how much do you think they're playing into some of those new rules and being able to be creative?
I think they will have been training specifically with some of the new rules already so far this season, because that release on the toss does mean, like you said, you can change up your service reception before the server even realizes that it's happening. And that gives you such an advantage from a receiving side that, you can cover up things where somebody's having a bad passing day or one of your players is getting targeted every single time. And you can just take the heat off of them, let them focus on attacking.
Well, it looks like Darkstar also forgot about the lineup sheet, which is definitely important. But before we go upstairs and really break down the players, let's finally just talk about this Durham team. Also, we chatted with Paul Welsh. The depth of this squad's really interesting, but Paul talked to us about some targeted recruitment. And one he talked about to us in the pre-game was Izzy Decker. He's been recruiting her for 2 years straight. So obviously that connection's definitely there as well. So how important is it that, as a coach, you go in and understand what player you're getting to build the system around them?
Yeah, it's so key. But also, what I really liked about what Paul said in the interview that you just did with them is not only do they have that targeted recruitment, but they've had a focus in the preseason on team bonding. And that, I mentioned previously, it can be really difficult for teams to play together well at the beginning of the season. But because they've had that focus on bonding, it gives them so much more of an advantage. I'm expecting to see a team that's already gelled together and things are going to run smoothly from the outset here.
And then the other person we want to talk about at the net, wearing number 2 for Durham, the former Darkstar setter, Sonia Konsundruk, moving to Durham for university, so she's going to be there for 3 years. But what an odd situation it is for her. First game in a new uniform, playing against your old team.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward, but you know, at the end of the day, yes, we're all friends off the court, and once we get on the court, we want to be as competitive as possible. Sometimes that means you change teams, but I'm sure she's excited to see her previous teammates across the net anyway.
Right, we're going to take a very quick break, move ourselves from courtside up onto the commentary position, but we are about 7 minutes away from the first MAAREE Women's Super League game, Darkstar versus Durham. We'll be right back. And welcome back to Loughborough. We're just about 6 minutes away now from first serve. And just as we always do, always tough on everything when we can, but trying to pick out a couple of people for you at home to keep a particular eye on. And for Durham, we're going to go to Chloe Thomas, number 5 for the Palatinates. Really explosive. And when we're chatting with Paul, kind of in that early build-up to Final Four, it's the first name he mentioned. He says he doesn't normally pick out athletes. It's really tough, especially with the balance. But he said just a really hard-hitting outside, big vertical, huge athlete. And she's going to be really exciting to watch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this entire Durham squad is quite tall, really. I mean, we saw it with the boys as well. They have several players that are well over 6 feet tall. So it'll be, we've just seen her hit a ball there. It's going to be exciting to see what she can do.
And I said outside, it's my fault. See, Chloe is an opposite. But out of UNLV, long career as well, out of Texas. 3-time Mountain West Scholar athlete as well. Obviously, huge volleyball background. But that depth in position and what Chloe's going to be able to provide, that versatility and that athleticism, especially against a smaller Darkstar team, she really expected we were going to see a lot of balls going her direction early.
Oh, yeah, I would expect to see that. Although, I'm expecting them to have plenty of versatility in their offense, and here she goes. That is a hammer indeed. Excited to see that during the match. You know, a player like that that's got so much experience in, you know, a variety of different competitions is going to be really key for this Durham team.
And also a little bit of a leader as well. We know she's one of the vocal players of the group, and again, as Paul said, that team bonding super experience, but she's going to be one that we know the opposite position isn't as much of an outlet as it is in the men's game, but we start to see over the summer, especially women's team, trying to develop that as well.
Yeah, I mean, with the new rule changes as well, it, you know, gives teams slightly different setups when it comes to service reception. A lot of times you'll see now the opposite running across the court to hit from their natural position straight away, and we will surely see that happening today.
And on the other side of the net, pretty easy choice for us. The former Durham athlete, Alice Brand, playing back home here in Loughborough. This is home for Alice. I think pretty much sure she walked to the venue this morning, but obviously a big outlet person, but a big personality as well on this Darkstar team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, coming in, she's the captain. She's leading this Darkstar team. She's going to be such a key person in the match today. You know, that leadership is going to be so important, and how she can keep things calm. She doesn't know a lot about the Durham team because there have been so many new signings. Like you said, there's only one returning player actually here today. but she'll know Paul, she'll know the systems and how he likes to play.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how she does. And I know that win in Durham last year was a big one for her on a personal level. And Alice, obviously a leader, part of the England pathway as well, played in the Five Nations back in January last year. So as teams kind of go through the warm-up, Jess, obviously we saw with the Durham men late last night, size, and you alluded to it. This Durham team have got a lot of length at the net, so is that block defense going to be super important, you think, in this matchup against a smaller Darkstar team?
Yeah, I think actually we'll probably see something similar to what we saw last night, where, you know, we saw Richmond hitting high hand balls off the Durham block quite a few times, and it's going to be how that defense reacts to those high block touches. When the ball is going in a direction that you're not expecting it to travel to, are you ready to move, or are you stuck on your heels? So hopefully we'll see those ladies moving around, but I am expecting to see plenty of blocks and block touches in this first match.
As teams just about to head off court, we see some more of the Lionheart staff coming in. They're also in a light mood, and that's the thing about the MAAREE Women's Super League in particular. And it's so important that so many people are so vibrant, and it's such a relaxed atmosphere, but when it's game time, we know these athletes switch on.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I think, you know, the more relaxed they seem in warm-up, the more in the zone they probably actually are, because it's really important as a player not to get overexcited in the lead up to a match, because then you just get so tense that everything that happens, you know, you're not making every ball better, you're making every ball more chaotic. So I love to see all the players relaxed. It means that they're ready to perform at their peak.
Indeed, and we're just about ready for the official presentation of teams here ahead of the opening game. And of course, the first people we need to talk about, as always, are our officials. And a very veteran officiating group on this game. Jess, super experienced. And our referee number one for this game is in the chair, Brendan Fogarty, and he will be joined in front of the scorers table by Deborah Smart, your officials for the game. And Jess, just while we get team intros, the officials did such a good job yesterday about early communication. Some of the new rule changes, we saw how proactive they were as a group. Yeah,
and it's exactly what Nick Heckford talked about in the referee's preseason brief. So we've seen that implemented straight away. And I love the fact that all the referees are now mic'd up, so they've got communications between them. It makes things much smoother when it comes to making calls. And you can see, we saw it yesterday a couple times, the first referee would wait until he had some information from the second referee, or would discuss with one of his line judges, just to make sure that when he's making a call, he's making the right call. We love to see that as spectators, and as players, you want to know that your refereeing team is working together to get things as expected.
Indeed, and now we're going to get our starting sevens for this game onto the floor. And they are led out by their captain, Ali Ruffin. Coming out of a military academy, Paul Welsh said the hardest thing he's had to deal with is trying to get her to be loose and just to have a little bit more fun. Obviously, really strict regiment. The rest of the starting seven for the Palatinates. Number 1 through the middle, Niara Hightower. Number 5, we just talked about it, the opposite, Chloe Thomas. Number 10, Isabel Decker. Number 19, the starting setup is Elena Bullimer. Number 22, the other middle, Ellie Schrader. And their starting libero is going to be Jenna Giombi. And she'll don the white jersey. And it's super experienced for the Durham. And now we're going to welcome the Darkstar team onto the court. And of course, starting out for Darkstar, one to watch. And as Jess said, the captain for Darkstar, number 7, Alice Brand. Probably got the most individual support in the building, Jess.
Oh yeah, you can see all of the fans cheering for her.
And then the rest of the Darkstar team, number 1, Hajar Elawani. Big server as well. That's going to be an interesting storyline to see what she does with her jump serve. And the rest of the Darkstar team, number 4, through the middle, Rachel Murray. Number 9, Lauren Cadogan, the other middle. Number 12, apologies, is JC Needs. Number 14 in the setter position, the super experienced Victoria Lodeska, and the starting libero for Derby, number 3, Lindsay Legg. So that's your starting 7s on the floor. Of course, head coach for Durham, Paul Welch, assisted by Ross Enfield. And on, as we said, downstairs, the experienced coach are Audrey Cooper and Maria Batelli.
Yeah, interesting you mentioned the jump serve of Ella Awani just a moment ago, because I think that's going to be a key determinant in this game. You know, Paul Welsh just talked about the service reception as a key strength for this Durham squad, but if the service pressure is something that, you know, the serves come in and they're not quite the same style that some of their teammates serve at, because you're only going to get so many different types of serves in your own training. Or if there's just some opening weekend jitters on the Durham side, we might see that impact their offensive option.
As we're just about getting the lineups ready, so the liberos can get themselves onto court. I believe Derby are serving first, indeed it is, as Hajar Elawani heads to the baseline. And Jess, statement of intent made for Derby: start with your most aggressive server right off the rip.
Yeah, don't worry so much about where your setter is rotationally. You know, traditionally a lot of teams will start with their setter as their first server. But yeah, throwing out your most aggressive server to start with just shows that their intent is to come out here and put their best foot forward.
As the whistle goes, and we are about to get underway. 2025-2026 MAAREE Women's Super League underway. Elawani, nice high ball by Decker. Chloe Thomas has to reach for that one. And the left-handed swing from JC Need on the right side. Durham trying to run the middle. Good little tuck back by Rachel Murray. And Alice Brand gets her first swing. Long rally to start the day. And killed off into the back corner by Chloe Thomas. And Durham win the first long battle of the day.
Yeah, great swing there from Thomas. You can see that she's slightly less comfortable on that outside position because Durham did not run a swap on that service reception. Interesting to see Durham here are still switching on service.
As Brand's cross-court attempt gets a tick, open middle net, but not put away by Schrader. And Need plays for the hands of the block and gets it. And Jason Need going to be super important for this Darkstar team. We talked about her downstairs, and they're playing for the hands.
Yeah, exactly what you're expecting from them against such a big block.
As that one clips the net tape. Big swing on the opposite from Chloe Thomas, and a dig is there but not controlled, and 2 early kills for Chloe Thomas.
Yeah, exactly the type of swing that you're expecting from her. She's meant to be the hammer out there, and she's bringing it.
As we just got a shoelace. So, making sure everyone's ready for serve receive.
Yep. I learned a trick about shoelaces. If you tie it with the loop going under instead of over the top, it'll stay.
Things
It's
we
like
find
magic.
out 11:35 on a Sunday morning.
That's exactly why you tune into VE, so you can learn super pro tips like that.
Need goes cross court. Good position from Bullamudder setter in position 1. Both teams super cross court heavy right now as Need gets a deflection off the block. And she finds her second kill in the row.
Yeah, that's a great swing from her. Again, going a high hand. You could see that the Durham setter just wasn't quite ready to move her feet there. And Durham going really heavy on Thomas right now.
As Durham get Rufin, the captain, her first swing. She can't find the floor. Alice Brand tipped. That's going to go over. That's very nearly picked up by Rufin, but Alice Brand with the quick reflexes. Not probably the way she envisaged winning her first point of the season, but a point is a point.
Yeah, it doesn't have to look good. It just has to work. So that was a good bit of self-cover. It just so happened to work out quite well for her that time.
So Need, low flat serve. Decker has to go to a Need to play it. And Darkstar in control of the rally. Little slide, Cadogan. Block touch. As Brand able to get a hand on it. Elawani off the pipe, and Rufin finds the net.
Yeah, a bit disappointing to see that ball hit into the net there. That set was good. Just not quite the connection that Ruffin wanted on that one.
As Need goes over the baseline.
First service error, that's fine. You know, we're gonna have a couple of those. It's a bit cold in the hall this morning, so, you know, we talked about this actually at Final Fours last year. The temperature of the hall will make a huge difference to the movement of the float serves.
As Brand misplays the pass, Need's gonna have to set up, and it's gonna be a free ball for Durham. Slide attack for Hightower. Need again on the defensive coverage, but Alice Brand not gonna try and put a swing on it. And Ruffin on the cross court, another block touch by Darby, but Brand not able to get there. But interesting to see Durham going to that slide early. We saw it a couple of years ago in their run all the way to the championship, that slide was a big part of the attack.
Yeah, I think middles getting involved early on is going to be a big part of the attack in general. Interesting to see the way that Darkstar is running their out-of-system offense, because the sets after that swing from Brand, that's impressive. The set's just way too far off the net for their attackers to do anything with.
And once Darkstar in system, they're going to make you pay, and that's Alice Brand's strength.
Yeah.
As Ruffin thinks he was going to try and play for the block touch, but couldn't quite line up the hands of the Darkstar setup.
Yeah, definitely going for high hands there.
As the experience of Alice Brand on the service line. Decker able to play it away out the body from the right. Little pipe roll shot by Chloe Thomas. Interesting to see Durham trying to move her into the inside as the tip is well called. Set a front row. Gluska can't find the floor. As Ruffin denied by the block. Gets a second time, but Lauren Cadogan says no.
That is an impressive block from Cadogan to say that she pretty much stayed in the same place after that first block. Yep, just a two-step to go back up. And you can see the blocks stacked quite hard on Cadogan there. They knew that ball was going outside.
As Brand again attacking the middle of the court. Thomas again stepping in through the pipe. Really interesting from Durham that couple of times in a row. Seeing Chloe Thomas as the opposite go to work the pipe instead.
Yeah, I really like that kind of inside-out run that she's doing, because it gives her the entire court to work with rather than being stuck with just more of a one-to-one type attacking pattern.
As Elawani, nice pass, going to get it back. And she splits the block. Hightower not able to go from the middle to the pin. And
Yep.
a big gap that Hajo Elawani needs no invitation to attack.
Definitely. We're seeing a lot. So in both serve and attack, they're trying to go after El Alawani. They want to take her out of the attack as much as possible.
As Cadogan, Decker goes into the block twice. Is Darkstar block really working effectively at the moment as Hightower able to recycle. Izzy Decker lines up, finds the cross-court angle. Cadogan from the middle. And JC Need makes a bit of a business decision. Didn't quite know where the board was.
Yeah, it's difficult if you're not used to playing in this arena to get all the way out there. Wow, that's impressive that they kept that alive after a really poor original pass. Great pickup.
Can you win the point? Because if not, the kick save is for nothing. Decker misses the swing. No touch given. And the first kick save of the season that was successful. In fact, we had one yesterday, but I can't call it a kick save. They were just letting the ball drop on a set. And can't remember which game that was, but we definitely had one kick attempt yesterday, but that's the first one that means something. And Darkstar, a strong early start, trying to get to double digits on this point as Thomas open middle, and again Darkstar blockers just separating. You've got to keep an eye on where Chloe Thomas is, but right now she's going through the back row, through the middle.
For the players that aren't blocking on that play, Chloe Thomas just came in with her hand up the whole attack approach. They have to be ready for that ball. They have to know it's coming short.
As Bulamalaseta goes down the line. Big block touch by Schrader. As Eloani plays for the hands of Decker, can't find the kill. She's going to go deep, but great read by the Durham captain. As Schrader denied. Second time picks the setup, and Darkstar's defense all over this rally, and Eloani wins it against Decker. And that is a bunch of positive signs early on for Darkstar Derbyshire.
Yeah, some really amazing digs in that rally, and such a smart play at the end there from Ella Elawani to go off the outside hand of the pin blocker to put that ball away.
So Darkstar into double digits, 10-7 the lead. That's great pass by Giombi off the serve, and Chloe Thomas goes with a little tip shot.
Interesting to see that's her second tip in a row from an attack perspective. So she's done one from the backcourt pipe, and then from the outside here, but it's being effective at the moment.
Yeah. You see a lot of coaches in the arena taking notes. We already talked about Steve McEwen and Alex Junior. We're still sitting near each other. We've got Sam Shenton, Ian Legrand on the far baseline. Sam Shenton's laptop's out. No doubt he's taking some notes, having already played this Durham team once in Bucks competition. As Lindsay Legg tested out on the serve receive. Not the easiest ball for JC Need to attack. As Chloe Thomas dug up by Eloani, but dug into the bleacher seating.
Yeah, big swing there with the one-on-one.
Fifth kill already for Chloe Thomas, and interestingly, Darkstar Derbyshire are going to take the timeout, leading 10-9. And maybe they've recognised the pattern here that right now the only two people doing damage are Rufin and Thomas. Nothing's really been set through the middle yet, so maybe they just want to adjust something on Chloe Thomas because she has had a lot of open nets, one-on-one blocks.
Yeah, so 3 of the last 4 points have been for Durham, and they've all come from Thomas. But I'm guessing here there's going to be something specific that Bertelli wants her team to change and just adjust really quickly. Maybe just one tip about something specific that they're seeing from the Durham side. You can see this does look like a very technical discussion in that huddle.
Indeed, and Paul Welsh taking time as well. He's obviously got the whiteboard out, obviously wanting to make some adjustments as well. These opening counts are so difficult because there's not a ton of tape on teams. Obviously, you know some personnel, but you don't know if things are going to change. So super interesting that this is really where the coaches earn their money.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's going to be those technical adjustments. You know, you're not coaching. You're just reminding your players, or you're letting them know something that you can see from the sidelines that they maybe aren't picking up on the court.
As the ace off the net tape, Lindsay Legg nearly got a hand to that one. But
Nearly.
The first ace of the game goes to Isabel Decker. As Alice Brand, good set by Leska, and they'll get the recycle. She checks shoulders, goes down the middle. Rachel Murray can't find the tower flex floor. The block nearly does, but again, the ball right to Darkstar. As Giombi covers the tip, little misplay, and they're going to call a net touch, I think. Or we're going to call a lift.
Yeah, that's they have said this season that they're going to be cracking down on the lifts quite hard. It's kind of a play off of the change to the double contact rule.
As Chloe Thomas can't rescue that one, the net post padding in the way.
Yeah, that was just a little bit of an overset there. Durham here just looking slightly frazzled in that service reception.
As big swing, you can hear the contact on that joust at net. Schrader puts it over. Elawani steps into set. She did some setting over the summer. As Rufin gets the block touch of JC Need.
Yeah, smart swing there from Rufin to put that ball down. But I've got to say, loving the middle defense in the backcourt. That was a great dig.
And maybe it's one of the weaknesses we thought Darkstar might have, but if Cadogan and Moe can keep on with the amount of block touches they're having, it's going to be a huge weapon for this Darkstar defense. As Elawani, picture perfect pass. Brand stops, waits, can't find the floor, but forces the first ball over. And this time finishes going against Hightower again.
Great swing there from Brand, going on the inside of the inside pin blocker. I'm still interested about the fact that both teams are switching, so there's no rotational fault. Nope.
As a little tip by Thomas. Elawani waits from the pipe, catches the shoulder of Jenna Giombi.
Yeah,
I think that was going way out, but Giombi just couldn't swerve out the way in time.
Exactly. If you can't hit the ball in, you know you're not going to get the right contact point aimed for somebody's face. That tends to get some sort of touch on some part of their body.
As low flat serve by Need. Decker handles it well. Thomas goes line. Too much for Lindsay Legg.
Yeah, you can see the pin blocker and the middle both cheating a little bit too much towards the middle and leaving Thomas entirely too much line.
As Elawani from the pipe.
Great.
Line, Hightower's trying to be level, but Elawani goes wide of the block, splits the 6-5 seam to perfection.
Yeah, I love this pass and then attack. And you can see the middle just drifting there in that block, giving her plenty of space.
Jenna Giombi, one of two players on the Durham roster out of Long Beach State, as Rufin with a pickup, but it's a free ball for Darkstar. Cadogan on the slide. Decker with the dig, and Rufin, the captain, again attacking the setup, getting the touch.
Yeah, but not so she could go over the setter, like she's got the height to do it, but she's aiming specifically to just catch those fingertips and just put the ball outside of the reach of the defenders. Really smart swing.
Attacking the less natural blocker in the front row is Brand. Elawani, that's a big one across the top of the block. Hightower was there that time, but Hajar Elawani took the angle on.
I think Paul Welsh will be a little bit disappointed in the block setup there. That set was quite wide, and Hightower pushed that block all the way out to the pin, giving Elawani plenty of cross-court space.
Cadogan forces the overpass. Giombi went to read it and made a great heads-up play, but Paul Welsh going to need to talk it over because Darkstar are racing away with this first set. It's a 4-point lead, Jess. 17-13 for the local team.
Yeah, you can see the impact that the last timeout that Darkstar's timeout had on their performance. So they look a lot more settled now. They've made a couple of adjustments that have given them some good performance so far. But you know what's surprising me right now is the fact that the Durham service reception isn't as solid as I thought it was going to be.
But I think the impressive thing right now is the lack of errors from Darkstar. Right now, you don't have a single hitting head. We had the long serve by Jason Eade, but they are playing almost perfectly clean volleyball, and that's so important.
Yeah, really impressive from them. Coach's point on that one, as now we do have a second service error with Cadogan putting that ball long.
Some of the Newcastle women already in the building ahead of their game at 3:30-ish. We'll say ish, as we went a little bit over yesterday, but that means a lot of types of volleyballers. Decker, Alice Brown with a great pickup. That's going to be tight. Elawani with the two-handed stuff.
I mean, first off, that dig from Alice Brand off of an awkward block touch, so impressive. But El Alawani with that heads-up play to just push that ball between the blockers, so smart.
There's a crowd starting to make their way into the Sir David Wallace Sports Hall. As back set, Thomas Elawani made the angle a little bit difficult. That's a tight angle. She goes sharp cross court, and Decker can't handle it over and wide in one.
Yeah, again, you know, we saw last season El Alawani loves that cross court shot, but Durham are setting up for, you know, to block line on her. They'll have to make an adjustment in the next set.
Lovely short serve. Cross court angle that misses the sideline.
Aggressive swing, though. I don't think that the coach will be too disappointed with that, I say, as they call their second timeout of the set. Still.
And Paul Welsh talking it over 20-14, and right now it's how you get the middles really going, Jess. There's nothing coming from that side. It's very heavy on Chloe Thomas through the opposite and pipe. Ruffins kicked into gear. Decker's not quite got firing yet, so it's very become two-dimensional. Durham and Darkstar have really done a good job with the blocking and just forcing Durham to win a point 2 or 3 times rather than once.
Yeah, so I think the two key things here are, you know, the service pressure from Darkstar is putting Durham's serve receive really under fire. They're not getting the balls in, so they're not able to get their middles firing. And then Darkstar have been so scrappy and picking up so many balls, it's mentally draining as the attacking team to try and keep pushing.
Another short serve headed to Giombi. Elawani gets a shoulder to it. Murray with an athletic play, but there's the middle attack. Ellie Schrader gets the first of the day for her.
After putting up a really beautiful back set as well.
The 6'2 middle, who I think's had a year out before heading over here, the Oregon State graduate. As Brand has to put it over on the free ball. Thomas goes line, beats the block of JC Need. I think Need's checking what happened and taps the chest, says my bad. But again, that ball came off the top of the net touch.
Yeah, I think there, because she's coming in.
It's interesting that Durham are most definitely getting away with some things right now. We'll talk about that in the set break.
Oh, a miscommunication. Oh. So there's your first non-service error for Darkstar, where there's a miscommunication between El Alawani and Brand, and that ball doesn't make it over the net.
And most definitely Durham should be getting in a bit of trouble for what's going on right now, which is most definitely some screening action on serve. We'll try and break it down a little bit for you at home in the new regulations when we get a chance. But obviously we'll get this set concluded as well. But as the set's gone on, it's become more and more noticeable.
Yes, it has.
As Elawani straight to Giombi, great pass. Chloe Thomas hangs from the outside on the cross court.
Yeah, I said early on in the set that she didn't look quite so comfortable from the outside, but if you look at her here, she looks like she could be a natural outside. Waits until the block is on its way down and puts the hammer on that ball. Great dig. Oh, nice chase, but unable to recover.
Yeah, you can see the intent from Durham, but again, the ball control's not quite being on point as a substitution's coming. I believe this could well be a serving sub for Darkstar's. Rachel Murray is coming out of the game. And it's Morgan Donaldson into set. Well, serve, but she can also set. So interesting to see what Durham do with setting options as that ball misses the line. That's a brave lead by Giombi.
Yeah, that ball did not miss by much. Really tough call, but well watched.
And interesting, Darkstar didn't reverse the sub, so we'll hopefully pick up on that, but I think they're hoping they don't need to get into the front court rotation at 22 points. As Schrader, Brand gets it back off the receive. Good touch by Thomas. Ruffin puts it over on the first touch. And Brand attacks again. This time goes into the net, and Durham within 2. And timeout for Darkstar Derby.
Yeah, this will be them just trying to freeze out the server a little bit, take a moment to take a deep breath. They've only got 3 points to close out this first set, but they have let their quite significant lead slip away a bit. So they'll be wanting to close things out. Might just be more of a pep talk than anything else. You can see there's not a lot of specifically technical discussion going on.
Deborah Smart, just reminding him that is the second timeout, so no timeouts left in this set. You can see there Paul Welsh leading that Durham huddle, talking about platform and passing, it looks like.
Yeah, that's got to be a discussion about service reception because it still isn't quite as clean as I'm sure he's expecting it to be. They've had a lot of 0 and 1 type passes rather than, some 2s, which at least they can still do something with.
So Ellie Schrader on the cross court. Alice Brand plays a serve that was going out. JC Need into the block. Good rescue. But Durham not alive to the second ball. Little bit flat-footed.
Yeah, miscommunication there where the setter's calling for help, and it just looks like Ruffin wasn't quite ready to react to that one.
As JC Need, the lefty, on the service line. Giombi not balanced, but good pass. But Alice Brand with the block. Audrey Cooper down below us loves it.
That was such a well-timed block. You can see how well her and Cadogan get here. They close things up, but Alice Brand is all over that all day.
So 4 set points for Darkstar. Chloe Thomas tips it into the block. Cadogan makes a touch, but couldn't quite keep it alive. And that's the first change, and I think Durham are going to go with the serving sub. Chloe Thomas is going to go to serve, and it's going to be a defensive-minded sub. So setter out and an extra blocker in for Durham. Into the game wearing number 28 is Maura Hayes, a natural opposite, but they're going with a bigger block. They need to find blocking points, really, as Elawani goes single. Hightower gets a touch, but Elawani takes so much off it that Chloe Thomas can't alive. And Darkstar Derbyshire win the opening set 25-21, and well deserved. They let it start to finish, Jess Smith.
Yeah, they absolutely did. You mentioned earlier on in the set they played such a clean set. So they had 5 errors in the end. So there were 3 service errors and 2 other general errors happening. But Durham with 7 errors, and most of those were attack errors. There were no service errors from Durham. But it's that service pressure that's making such a big difference for this Darkstar team. And they're being smart with their attacks. They know that they're up against a big block. We saw it with that last point as well. Ella Lawani with the plenty of spin on that top spin roll shot just to put the ball out of reach off of the block touch.
And you look at the scorers, 10 kills already each for Hadjar and Chloe Thomas. Alice Brand chipping with 4, and obviously that big block as well. But right now, neither team have got a huge depth in scoring, but Darkstar have just done it quietly. Like, JC Need's been quiet, but she's just been effective. No mistakes outside of the 1 serving error, and forced Durham to give up 3 balls and not have good attacking opportunities in the way she's hit.
Yeah, and I think one thing that Paul will be saying to this Durham team between the sets is when we get a free ball, we have to put it away. Darkstar gave them a number of free balls during that set where they just didn't have, quite the right pass, or they're scrambling on a really great piece of defense. But Durham didn't take advantage of that. So for such a big team, they should be looking to put any free ball should be, a hole in the floor type hammer down.
This is where I'd love to have a mic in this Durham huddle.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Obviously, plenty of options to change it up on the depth chart and ways to make it change different, but just feels like outside of Chloe Thomas, they don't have a consistent offensive option, and defensively it's probably been the struggle. They've got some touches, but they've just not been alive and there to second balls that Darkstar have. Just feels like 11:30, they maybe not quite have woken up yet.
Yeah, I mean, Darkstar have been ready to move for everything. And we saw this in the first couple of sets with the Durham boys last night as well. It was those, that first ball off the block. Interesting to see that the libero for Durham is on the court right now. So they've got 7 players stood on the court. Oh, Ruffin just reminding her.
Libero learning rules. I did actually, one of the things Paul Welsh did actually bring up to me when we were having the pre-season chat a couple of weeks ago was the liberos were, some of them in particular, were massively disappointed to find out they were no longer allowed to serve, because obviously in the college you can, even as a lib. Over in the UK and Europe, not so much. And yes, definitely True was one of those candidates who is a very efficient server, but having to put on the white libero jersey.
It does give them an advantage, though, for matches that they might not want to use her as a libero, because having liberos that can serve mean that they are really effective as defensive specialist subs.
So, True McCullough into the game. She'll wear number 9. As scorers table, just getting everything set in the scorebook for set number 2. So Jess, for those of you at home, while we've got a minute, you can see it on your screen right now. These 3 Durham blockers so close together. From everything we understand, that is now called screening, and that is too close, and that should be being picked up by the officials.
Yeah, there's no rotational fault, and we talked about this in the podcast. There's no rotational fault on the serving side anymore. They really should be already stood in their swapped positions.
As MAAREE finds the one-on-one against Schrader.
Smart push there off the block, really good use. El Alawani going there for an aggressive serve again, but this time putting it just long.
As Izzy Decker testing leg, but perfect pass. Need has to wait for it, and again the block touch, beating the Durham back row defense. In fact, Durham going with the 2 libero system that we saw last year down the end of the season. So Jenna Giombi coming in on reception, and True McCullough. Panici playing on the other end as Thomas into the block. Middle, Schrader, Elowani right there. And Brand splits the block.
And again, we're seeing Durham. Now that block that time, there was a gap there, which Brand took advantage of. And of course she's got great court vision. But nobody on the Durham side is ready to move for that block touch ball.
As Ruffin, Elowani. Again, this Darkstar defense not finding it, and Thomas and Schrader can blind for the block out just wide of the sideline. Another kill for Darkstar, and again, it's Durham's inability as the Durham bench trying to heckle Rachel Murray, and the overpass, no one alive on the Darkstar team, no libero, so it's really difficult for a server, Jess, really in position 5 to then have to take that, what it would normally be them stepping up into help cover up. You'd obviously expect your middle to pick it up as well. But when you've got 2 middles on the defense, you can see where the missing communication comes.
You can, but the fact that nobody jumped to maybe attack that overpass ball that was quite tight was interesting.
As Elowani comes into the 3 metre line, so has to stay on the floor before putting a swing. Ruffin picks out leg, overpass, Hightower plays it as the middle. Ruffin cannot connect, finds the net.
Yeah, into the tape this time, so it would have been called 4 touches anyway. But again, smart play from Darkstar. They're trying to put balls in a position that's going to cause chaos on the Durham side. and they're doing a very effective job of it.
As Ruffin going to get another chance, goes push line, and Hajar Elawani trying to get into the corner to cover. I think Need had picked up it was a potential tip, so she'd stepped in, and Hajar spotted the gap but couldn't cover it up.
I think that's the first real piece of creativity that we've seen from this Durham side.
As that just misses by Chloe Thomas. Didn't miss by a lot.
That was a very brave leave from Alice Brand there. She's not followed it all the way to the line, assumed that it was going to be out. It was moving just at the last moment with that float serve side to side.
As Thomas goes to the tip, but Brand able to just about get there. Elawani, dig by Giombi. Early call for Darkstar though, as Fletcher tries to go early. Leg and Darkstar scrambling, but Elawani, she's
not sure exactly. I think there's a
I
call
think that's going to
about
be a replay ball.
Yeah.
Great pickup by our second referee that there was a net touch, but she doesn't have an angle of how close it was to the post.
Brand just asking about what exactly the call is.
I think they're going to say the first contact was inside the antenna. As a contingent of the crowd not happy with that call, and it's not the contingent we were thinking about, the Darkstar fans, but Durham 2 in a row.
Yeah, that's a really smart push again. So, you know, maybe Paul's holding his girls between sets. You know, do some more tips. You know, it's been effective for Thomas. Let's try that out and see how we can go with it. Darkstar haven't quite adjusted to it yet, but that's such a smart setter dump. Wow.
Couldn't get the first one to go, but learnt from it, understood the assignment.
Really clever play there. Surprised that Giambi didn't pick that up after her read of the first one of those. We're just trying to find out who the next server is here for Darkstar, was the question. There we go.
And making sure the libero's not playing in the front row.
Definitely. It's always good to ask if you're not entirely sure.
Yeah, and obviously the changing positions, it is a little bit easier to get lost as Giombi pushes her captain onto the baseline. Not a great second touch either, but Izzy Decker from the impossible hitting angle. Should have been a free ball. Instead, it's a kill.
Yeah, over the shoulder shot, really difficult to handle. I think Darkstar there just set up a little too deep on their defense.
I mean, they've come in unconventional ways, but it's the third kill of the set for Decker. We've had an overpass. We've had basically a free ball attempt, but she'll take them to get her going as Elawani again splits the block, and this has got to be concerning for Durham now, Jess. This height and blocking that we thought Durham would get is just non-existent.
Yeah, they've been trying to target El Elawani to keep her out of the attack, but it's not always happening. And then when she is in the attack, it's the block is just not set up quite tight enough to keep her shut out.
Schrader on the slide, picked up by Darkstar. Elawani goes for hands, but pushes it too sharply down into the net.
Yeah, it's a smart idea. It was a set that was much too far inside for her. Surprised to see we don't have an overhand set from the libero in that position. There's no double touches really anymore.
As back set, Elawani, good hand by Schrader. Ruffin gets a great second touch, and Decker can really attack it, and there we go. Izzy Decker able to start getting some confidence, and she attacks that one with venom. Thank you much. We've got the team sheets for game number 2. Big thanks to the VE staff behind the scenes who have helped keep us up to date with everything going on, as that one again misses the sideline by not by a lot.
Yeah, this time Brand followed it all the way to the line and decided at the last moment actually it was out. A little bit easier to see when you've got the nice Terraflex floor where your playing space and your free zone are different colors.
As Giombi scrambling, great pass though. Thomas pulled well inside, no touch. Chloe Thomas wasn't overly convinced there was a touch. Paul Welsh was. But Darkstar, Durham, every time Durham have a run, they've just found a response, Jess. And now you get your biggest server on the line. Hajar Elawani forces the ace. Decker can't handle it. And Ross Enfield hits the timeout buzzer. Paul Welsh says, give me 30 seconds, please.
Yep, he wants a moment to talk that one over. Only the second ace of the match so far, this time from El Elawani. We've had an ace from Decker in the first set. But yeah, Paul Welsh just trying to put a stop to this. He doesn't want to go down in 3 sets for sure to Darkstar. So he's just going to have to make some adjustments to what his ladies are doing. He talked about service reception in the pregame interview. So I'm sure he's going to want his ladies to tighten things up and get that pass in.
As Hajar Elawani trying to back-to-back ace, or will we get another coach's point? We had some fun about that. As Decker, much better pass. Thomas, great pickup by Lindsay Legg. Setter, Victoria Leska, and Elena Bullimer, the setter, with a tremendous pickup. JC Nee gets stuffed, but it all goes to the setter with the tremendous pancake save.
Yeah, that ball I thought was going to be down, but play kept on, and you always have to play to the whistle, regardless of your personal opinion about what might or might not have happened in the middle of the point. That might have been going wide there for Brand.
Brand's played a couple of those, but trying to keep the rally going as Decker from the pipe, blocked by Rachel May. She read that one to a T. We haven't seen Durham run much backcourt outside of that initial sequence to Chloe Thomas, but Rachel May, just watch it, reads the fake and just slides across perfectly.
Yeah, so smart there, seeing that the middle wasn't quite ready for an attack.
And another cheap one for Darkstar, and Durham just can't put service runs together. And every time they've needed a response, this team from Derby finding solutions as Thomas Elawani, again a tremendous pickup, but advantage Durham in the rally. Thomas is rejected by Alice Brand, and the hometown player forcing Paul Welsh to the bench, and it's not the change we maybe expected.
Yeah, interesting to see here. You know, I talked about this between sets, that when they get a free ball to Durham, they need to be putting the ball away, but they're almost too predictable right this minute. They're going to Thomas almost every single time, I say, as they go to the middle finally.
Maura Hayes goes directly to the middle, can set as well, but was listed more as a natural opposite, and Darkstar keep finding points, and Paul Welsh goes and has, I was going to say goes and has a seat. He doesn't quite get as far as a seat, but his coaching board goes on his chair, and I think we know what's coming if Darkstar win this point.
Yeah.
As Hayes, and a miscommunication. Need and Lodjeska, the setter, leave the ball for each other, and nobody equals point.
Yep. You'd rather have two players run into each other sometimes rather than let the ball hit the floor like that, but really the setter's got priority on that one.
As overpass killed off by Chloe Thomas.
I mean, nobody's doing anything about that. Darkstar aren't in a position to get a block up. Chloe Thomas says, thank you very much for the open net.
See, that is far enough apart where it's not a screen. So I wonder if there was a quiet word mentioned at some point. I've not really picked up on it this set, but I've also watched it a ton. As Elawani, another overpass, joust won by Hightower. And a couple of mistakes in a row for the serve reception unit of Darkstar. Have done a tremendous job until now. And Audrey Cooper, Maria Bellatelli says, just give us a minute. We need to talk this over and just reset ourselves. But we've still got a comfortable lead.
Yeah, I think this is more to give the team, 30 seconds break to just take a deep breath, reset themselves mentally, because service reception is more about the mental game than anything else.
It's interesting that it's Ross Enfield initially just pointing to some things on his notepad and stat sheet, probably maybe just showing a trend, but great insight there into the Durham huddle.
I'd be interested if he's talking about the set distribution at the moment. So the last couple of sets have gone to Hightower on that B-ball, and they've been quite good. So we've seen with this setter change that it's changed the dynamic a bit, but up to that point, the distribution has been almost entirely to the pens for this Durham squad.
As Brand into the block, Hightower forces the overball. Elewani tries to go quick. Defense awake, and Ruffin, who's not seen much ball in set 2, goes long.
It was a really good set, actually, from the middle in that awkward play, and then Ruffin, I think, just had too much time to think about it and just rolled it long.
As Hayes keeps the ball alive, but off the block from the back row goes JC Need.
Yeah, smart swing, so that inside out, she's got the thumb down, trying to use that block and tool it off. We've got a substitution here for Durham, with Sinar in for Ruffin, possibly to shore up the service reception a bit as well.
Yeah.
Decent pass.
As Thomas has to go to the roll. She feels like she's just been starved of many real attacking opportunities. As the ball goes cross-court, Sina splits the defense, but Alice Brand alive from the front row, and the pass over beats Jenna Giombi, and that's the way this game has gone for Darkstar. Anything they've tried,
I mean,
has
that
come
was
off.
So fantastic, and this is such a great representation of this entire match so far. Darkstar reacting to everything, chasing down every ball, and making smart plays when they put it over the net.
Schrader, long set, Sina runs out of room, and everyone just checking she's okay.
Yeah,
Paul Welsh goes, do I have a timeout? Yes, I do. Can I use it? Yes, please.
Yeah, so second timeout here for Durham at 12-19. Darkstar still solidly in control. 12-18.
So if we just, Jess, have just a bigger picture look at the trends right now in this game. Alice Brand's really stepped up in set number 2, given some versatility, but Darkstar surviving errors that they didn't make early in the set, but that's because Durham have nothing going offensively. 12 errors already.
Yeah, so Darkstar, I think, had 2 errors in the first set, so they're on 3 already so far in this set. Still keeping it pretty low. Durham just need to figure out a way to get themselves together a bit. I think the service reception and the lack of movement in defense is really not working well for them, so they've got to figure out a way to, you know, incorporate that split set, keep themselves on their toes, ready to move at all times.
As Thomas, there's one she can really step in and line up, and she makes no mistake.
Yeah, interesting setup here on the service reception for Durham as they've gone back to this swapping in the front court and kind of
swapping, screening, anything that's not legal.
Up as well.
And we're going to keep saying it. As Elewani didn't know which way the pipe ball was going, Sinar sets it up. That one finds the line. Great piece of improvisation by Maura Hayes. We know she can play the oppo, and that's why.
Yeah, that's a great swing there.
As that one goes long. And another error, and Durham just don't have rhythm. It feels like they can't string more than 2 points in a row together without making an error.
Yeah, it is.
And it's going to be frustrating on the sideline for Paul Welsh, Ross Enfield, and everyone else. As Hayes back set, slide for Hightower. Second time we've seen that, but Durham Again, not finding the floor, but Darkstar try and go tight angle, but can't quite connect. But again, being inventive and being brave with shot selection.
Exactly that, you know, and it's that smart play. And even though that ball just went wide there, that was going to be a free ball, you can see Cadogan's trying to put in a smart ball where the setter's coming in, trying to put them off.
Sinar gets one hand to it. Free ball given up by Durham. Elawani attacks the double block, splits the defense of Giombi and Decker. And again,
you can see Elawani she loves that cross-court shot. She wants to hit that hard angle. The Durham block still hasn't adjusted.
And that one off the net tape, Sinar plays it. And the point won by Decker on the cross-court swing. Izzy Decker started this set really well. Gone and quiet, and now picking it up down the stretch, and her side need a run.
Yeah, they definitely do, but interesting to see her kind of replicating what Elawani just did with her own hard cross-court shot.
As Elawani waits, splits the block. There's no tightness on that Durham block. All right, now, and that's an easy gap for one of the best hitters in the Super League to exploit.
There's a high, out-of-system ball. It's only going to go to one place. It's going to go to Elawani. The block should have been stood there waiting. As soon as that pass became out of system, they should have been already there.
I mean, Darkstar have copied Durham.
Well, if they're going to get away with it, then why not?
As Schrader goes middle. As Decker. Brand again gets a touch, but can't complete beyond that.
Yeah, and this, you see, there was a gap in that block that Decker took advantage of, but the difference here is that there's a gap in the Darkstar block on that point because the set is going at that fast a tempo. Hayes there going for power and powering it out.
But again, we just see it on your stat sheet to the right, Jess. It's just error, couple of kills, error, error, couple of kills, service error, couple of kills, service error.
Yeah, they are definitely defeating themselves right now.
As Elawani gets that one all types of wrong.
Oh, 2 power serves, 2 power outs. So I said that Durham are defeating themselves here, but I must say, genuinely, Darkstar playing so well.
Some of the MAAREE Eagles enter the building. As Brand goes into the block, Murray can't recycle.
That's a great block there by Thomas to shut that one down. You can see Darkstar's in the right positions to cover on that block as they take their second timeout of the set. So that's no timeouts remaining for either team.
But again, Darkstar using it earlier rather than later, trying to keep momentum going. That gives them some room for error, and they've just been comfortable this whole game.
Yeah, they feel fairly in control because it's only 2 points in a row that they've lost here, and if Bertelli's just straight away with a timeout. Okay, now is the time. Let's stop the momentum before it starts. Close out the set. Let's push for 2. That's got to be what they're telling their team.
So, Decker on the service line. McCullough, Sinar making the call with the setter back row. And into the block goes JC Need, and again, she hasn't seen a lot of ball, but JC Need's just been quiet.
Yeah, she's been fairly quiet, but she's been really effective when she has gone up to swing at the ball. So that's her 3rd kill, and it's probably only her 3rd or 4th set this set so far. So set point here for Derbyshire.
As Thomas gets denied, Lauren Cadogan closes the set in style. And right now it is one-way traffic. And Darkstar, Derbyshire, who had all the momentum last year, have gone, well, 6-month break ain't bothering us. Jess Smith, we're going to just keep rolling along. They take set number 2, 25-19.
Yeah, that core group of players that they have brought back this season has really helped them start out with the same momentum that they finished last season with. We're just going to have the players take a few minutes break, and then we'll be back for set number 3 in just a couple of moments' time, as I'm sure that both teams will be making some decisions about what they do with the lineups. And you can see that we had set number 1, 25-20 for Darkstar Derbyshire, and set number 2, 25-19. So they're just building on that momentum that they started out with. The service pressure is really crushing Durham at the moment. They're struggling to keep up with it. They look a bit slow and stuck to the floor at times on defense. They're not ready to move. Derbyshire, on the other hand, are doing a great job of being ready for everything. Everybody's scrambling to pick up every ball. There's such scrap and fight in this team. So will we see Durham in set number 3 replicate what their men's team did last night, where they just kind of woke up in set number 3. Okay, we're warmed up now, we're ready to play, and they came in and had 3 really strong sets for that reverse sweep. So are we going to absolutely crush Michael's podcast predictions of no or maybe 1 reverse sweep all season long by having the first one happen on opening weekend? Find out in just a few moments' time. Sure as well this week we will be talking about the matches when we have the Timeout podcast, where you can catch myself and Michael Hansen Morris talking about all of this weekend's action, fun things that have happened. Maybe we'll have some bloopers for you. Maybe we'll have some really sweet swings. There have been quite a few strong hammers coming down yesterday. We've seen a couple of great attacks so far in this match, and we are just about to get underway here for set number 3 between Durham Palatinates women and Darkstar Derbyshire.
Thank you, Jess Smith. As we are getting ready for set 3, unsurprisingly no changes for Derby. Maybe unsurprisingly, no changes really massively on the Durham side. Just the setting change that we had in set 1, but no other real big changes. You kind of wonder at what point do you go to the players that haven't yet played to try and just get some momentum, because this group just hasn't been firing. As Thomas with the tip, Alice Brand can't quite get the pick up this time.
Yeah, smart from Thomas to start out with that tip. You know, we talked about her being a power hitter in the warm-ups, but she has been most effective today with those more delicate touches.
Brand waits for it. Ruffin back into the game, having taken a break at the end of the second set, but Murray with the block. Rachel Murray's had a tremendous blocking game. Few kills, but more importantly, the amount of block touches, Jess, as well, Murray's had. It's been tremendous.
Yeah, I think it's the block touches that have really helped out things. She's been slowing things down for her defense as she now puts in a serve. It's a good pass.
As Need into the block. Ruffin with the pickup. Thomas goes cross court. Elawani with the back set. Brand with the roll. And again, Durham trying to run middle. Unconventional kick save is going the wrong way on touch 3.
Yeah, awkward defense. Comes off somebody's body. And it's just, if somebody happens to be in the right position to put that ball over, great. If not, then, you know, there's not a lot that you can do with that. But some great defense on both sides of the net that time. And finally seeing Durham ready to take the awkward touch off the block.
So Schrader, short serve, gets Derby firing, and Alice Brand fires it into the antenna. For those of you maybe new to volleyball, not quite legal.
Not quite, yes. So the antenna, for those of you that aren't aware, just while the line judge adjusts it to make sure that it's back straight, imagine that it is a laser beam going all the way up to the ceiling. If any part of the ball touches what that imaginary laser would be, it is out because that is considered outside of the playing space.
As Brand going to get it back off the serve receive, tries to split the block. Good pick up by Lindsay Legg. And recycle ball as Decker goes hard. Legg with the dig, joust at the nets, coming back to Darkstar. Hajar Elouani with an athletic save. As Hightower calls for it and finds the kill. Again, not clean, but Durham much better. And now they've got to keep it up and not make a couple of errors.
Yeah, I think Darkstar will be a bit disappointed there. Elouani did a great job of chasing that ball down, and actually I think it was high enough that Brand could have put, at least a top, just a roll shot in, rather than just giving a straight free ball to Durham.
Brand need into the block, but Hightower dominating that matchup. The first time we've really seen her kill on the block.
Yeah, really great swing down the front of the block as it didn't quite close to the net as much as it needed to.
I don't know what point I was watching, but not that volleyball point. It was Need won the point off the block.
What a swing there from Decker coming back in this set. Really interesting to see there. Durham's running their middle and their outside about a half a meter apart from an attacking standpoint. So tight.
As Brand going to get it back. As Hightower plays it over. Great pickup by McCullough Panucci on the back row. Elouani says, anything you can do, I can do. And fight at the net. Brand, Hightower, neither can put it down. Elouani from the pipe splits the 6-5 seam. And Hajar Elouani is on absolute fire.
Oh, she is unstoppable from that pipe today. She is really crushing it. But again, some amazing defense. The moves, that pickup was incredible.
Decker, another huge
dig.
dig by Lindsay Legg. She's had a quiet but really efficient game as well. Need from the back. Blocked by Hajar Elouani.
What a read. Oh my God, that's got to be the block of the day. She's going up, she gets one hand to that ball.
Wow.
Look at this. It's coming and boom. She gets both hands up, but she's got a solid one hand block on that ball. It stays in.
I don't know how much she knew about it, but I'm not sure she's arguing with it.
Hey, she did well to get up there.
Alice Brand picks up the ace. Decker with the misplay.
Great serve. We can see these really flat float serves. We mentioned earlier the hall is pretty cold. The ball's going to move different. It's going to be moving more side to side with the cold rather than up down from a float serve perspective.
Decker cross court finds Hajar. She'll go with the tip, and there's going to be a net touch by Hightower. I think the jersey caught the net.
Yep, but if any part of your uniform touches the net, which includes your top, that is still a net touch. So you've got to make sure that you are, I like to say, becoming a banana as you block. You want to kind of hollow out your core, push with your arms and your feet.
Decker this time splits the block. Little hand by Cadogan.
Decker has been so
The
efficient.
setup, and Durham ties back up 6 apiece, but Durham need to find a gear that the men's team found late last night to come back. As that one left by Brand. Good communication with the Darkstar receiving unit.
Yeah, really good chat. In the back, you could hear 3 or 4 different players all saying that ball's out.
As a low serve beats McCullough Panucci. Paul Welsh making say your feet are just flat-footed, and it feels like this whole Durham performance has been flat.
Yeah, it has. I feel like they've just been glued to the floor. I don't know if somebody's gone in and sprayed some sticky tack on the bottom of their shoes ahead of this match, but they have been stuck for the whole time.
Ruffin goes with the roll. Great hand by Gluska. And Hayes tries to go over.
Yeah, trying for that little cheeky one-handed tip on the second ball. So Durham here taking a timeout to talk that over. The service reception this set had been getting better, but the last 2 serves have been monstrously disastrous for this Durham side. On the libero as well, too. So an ace and then not the best of passes. They need to have a good pass in so that they've got as many options as possible. You know, they've got Hightower in the front. She's a towering middle, and she's been really effective on that B ball, the shoot. So they have to get that pass in to be able to manage that. So I'm interested to see if Durham are going to take one step forward here on service reception, because Cadogan's serve does take a nasty dip around the time that it crosses the plane of the net. So they need to be ready to move into it.
As Cadogan on the service line, trying to find more points, but much better by Alyssa Ruffin, the Durham captain.
Yep, straight between the uprights of and oh, we almost had 7 players on the court for that serve, but she did remember in the end to move off the court.
As Niara Hightower, just 2 kills on the day. Leaves that one just a little bit long, second error of the day. As that one scrambling, big pickup, and that's over for Darkstar, free ball. And that one, and it's all off the chase down by True McCullough Benici, going from 5 to off the court 1, back to 5.
Exactly the type of points that you want to be winning. Really great chase from them.
As Elawani on the effective, almost like an opposite slide. Don't see that and the playbook very often.
No, you do not, but it's such a smart play.
She blisters one down the line, and Chloe Thomas can't get there. Hajar will have another go. This time goes the 1-6 seam.
2 aces in a row.
Libero change coming. Jenna Giombi in on serve receive. Back-to-back aces for Hajar.
Yeah, they had kind of moved away from that 2 libero system there for a few moments, but they might be reverting back to it now.
Good leave by Giombi. That one didn't miss by a lot, and again trying to attack the seam. Different angle though. We saw a line, then we saw that kind of 6-1 cross-court seam, and that one trying to hit the 6-5 gap.
I mean, 2 aces and an error, 67% on that one service.
We'll take it. As Rachel Murray tries to take another point, can't quite convert. Open net for Schrader, as Murray thought the ball was going out to Decker on the wing. Ellie Schrader, not the most convincing contact, but gets the job done.
And Brand a bit disappointed with herself because she had great positioning there. She almost had that ball up, but not quite right.
As Need steps well inside. Recycle ball. Great set by Elawani. Brand doesn't get it over, does the second time, and Schrader had no idea where the ball was.
Oh, that's so smart. Again, you know, Derbyshire have been so great at block coverage today, and it's really showing. So every time they cover the ball, and when it does go over, and I know that wasn't on purpose that time, but, you know, putting it in a position where there's going to be a little bit of confusion.
As Ruffin, back set for Thomas. She can only push it over again. Overpass. Decker can't put the ball down. Cadogan goes over on 2. Didn't know a lot about it. Schrader again trying to run the quick middle. And Elawani doesn't get the set right. And looks to the sky in frustration, and easy as you like.
Yeah, difficult ball to get to from the backcourt.
Either way, she'll be frustrated. And the gap is free. Durham trying to find a way to pull one set back. As Brand gets shut down, Thomas and Hightower combine.
I mean, that is a big block to go up against. You can see the height of these two as they combine and really close things down. Hightower so tall that she's reaching and still getting to the same height as Thomas.
As Elawani and Brand can't combine, and all of a sudden 3 in a row.
Yeah, so Schrader's been quite effective from the service line for Durham. So can they keep things moving? Oh, we've got a timeout here for Darkstar. But this is the time when we find out, can Durham keep things moving without an error this time? We've mentioned a couple of times that are having like a 1 or 2 point run, and then there's an error creeping in.
As team side out, just starting to loosen up away to our left in the activation area. They'll be next up in the London Derby, taking on Lionheart's Venarius. So out the timeout, no coach's point. Lovely big back set need, goes cross court. Can't find the killer, Thomas waits. Gonna be really tight, Brands. And Cadogan going for it at the net and called on the Durham side. Durham immediately appealed. Not
Really?
quite sure who got the touch on it.
Yeah, interesting that she's called there for encroachment. So again, Durham do quite well when their middles are back to serve. These are the points where they've had the most runs, and El Alawani there with a lucky tape trickler.
Yeah, that's the one when you're having a game that just breaks your way. But again, that momentum run for Durham, just can't picture it.
But yeah, much
Being
closer set
consistent.
this set. You can see that the difference in service reception for Durham has really
As
impacted.
Thomas Brand didn't get out to cover much at all, and as easy as an open net for Chloe Thomas. She makes no mistake.
Yep, thank you very much for the 1.5 to 2 meters of line that she was given. I'll just put that one down.
As Brand gonna get it back on the bump set, goes tight cross court and beats Decker standing inside the 3.
Yeah, so Durham have changed their defensive setup slightly to try and cover more of that sharp cross-court angle. But looks like maybe a little bit of overlap between her and Giambi.
As Hayes gonna push it out to Decker, goes over the top of the block. Elawani playing for touch.
She's absolutely convinced
And
that
she
was a
is
touch.
absolutely convinced.
So no touch called.
But scoreboard says no, and we're tied at 16 apiece. This time she just rolls over the block, but an overpass and killed off. Easy as you like.
Really smart heads-up
Cadogan.
play by Cadogan there to see that in transition Durham didn't have anybody covering position number 2 and just putting down an easy push ball.
She goes down the line. She's done well with the serve on the float. Really put some pressure on. Ruffin goes line. Need gets a touch. Pick up by Brand. And Ruffin again. Single block. And that one is obliterated. Goes 5-hole on JC Need.
We have to watch
Can't
that
be
again.
doing that to Canadian.
This one-on-one situation, everybody's following the middle, and Ruffin with a power swing.
As Elawani goes net. Set a little bit too low for her. Was going to have to swing up on it.
Yeah, they looked like they were trying to run something a little bit faster and a little bit more inside to try and change up things for this Durham block, but actually I think they're more effective when they're pushing out to the pins. They're going to use their second timeout.
And Darkstar are going to talk it over. 18-17, they trail in set number 3, having won the first 2 sets in convincing fashion, trying to close out Durham and get 3 points on the opening game of the season on the board.
Exactly. We said between the sets, is it going to be that the Durham women follow on with what the men did last night, where they kind of woke up in set number 3? Or will Darkstar be able to close things out? And this is where, depth of squad could have an impact, because, Durham have plenty of substitutions they could make. Darkstar do not. So if they're relying on El Alawani too much, or Brand, and they get tired, then what happens?
Well, it was a tired-looking first pass as Brand is passive. Hayes with the jump set, and Ruffin just about squeezes it through the block of MAAREE.
Okay, Ruffin coming in with the confidence in this set. So 2 kills in the last 3 points from her. She's really swinging hard at the ball right now.
But you can hear the Darkstar crowd in the bleachers really trying to help encourage their team, get them through this little sticky patch. They know you're going to close out a team like Durham. Best to try and do it in 3 as the ball goes long from the Ara High Tower. Jefferson Williams right behind the server. Called it out as well.
Yeah, again, that communication within that Darkstar squad, so key. Everybody calling out, out.
Ruffin, not the greatest pass. Going to get it back, has to go long line. Again, Alice Brand covering ground. Hajar with the tip, recycled ball. MAAREE on the floor, she's not an outlet, but can't find the close. As Brand, Elawani goes tight angle. And Schrader, again the connection in the middle, and MAAREE takes it away. And Durham really struggling
Yeah,
to
you can
find
see them.
efficient kills, but nonetheless the scoreboard keeps ticking over.
Yeah, the movement in defense is so solid for them, but you can see at the moment they're just having a little bit too many points where they're overlapping one another.
As Elawani gets a hand on the block, Thomas, and there's a net touch there. I believe it's by MAAREE. It's one of MAAREE will need.
Interesting. They're saying either it was the ball or they think it was maybe Thomas, but looks like it was called on need.
And Hayes with the serving error. The serving error is really rolling up now for Durham. Up to 8.
So just trying to.
As Hayes. Thomas waits for it and again attacks the block.
Great swing from Thomas. It looks like Durham have all of a sudden found a bit of confidence. Thomas is swinging more instead of tipping, getting a bit more aggressive. And on the other hand, Darkstar look like they're becoming slightly more passive.
And a let is going to be called.
Oh, there's El Alawani's necklace seems to have broken. Is on the court, so she's just going to.
Yeah, we'll call that non-ideal. But great job by the officials.
Really well spotted. Ooh, that is a monster block.
Absolute momentum stuffer by Chloe Thomas. That was lined up to a T. And Durham 2 points away from the set. Elawani goes roll middle, no good. As Decker responds and Brand leaves it for leg, and Durham gonna close out this set. And quick change on the bench. Brand gonna take a 1 or 2 point breather.
Yeah, a little bit too much hesitation there. There have been a couple of out-of-system sets that she's not swung at where she could have been slightly more aggressive, so it's just trying to reset herself. You can see she sat on the bench having a chat as we have Crabtree in.
Yeah, Brenna Crabtree in for the first time. Not going to be asked to play the ball, but Elawani takes a big one from the pipe, misses. And Durham Palatinates 25-19. They take set number 3.
Interesting to see that as a reverse of set 2's score. So it was 25-20, 25-19, and now it's 19-25. I might have said those the wrong way around because I think Durham is technically the home team for this particular match. But a lot more aggression from Durham in set number 3, really paying off for them. The service reception is getting much more organized. The defense, they're starting to move their feet more effectively. They're starting to move quicker. And Darkstar just haven't been able to adjust to this new speed and efficiency from the Durham team.
Ignore all of that. Valid points. Valid question. Did you just hear what this man right behind me did?
No.
He mentioned the 2 words, reverse and sweep.
Oh.
And you know exactly what that means.
Well, I have to tell you something. So in the break between the last 2 sets, Michael walked off for a moment, and I may or may not have said on the stream something about reverse sweep on opening day, despite Michael Hansen-Morris's...
No, not even opening day. The first game of the season
The
here.
first game of the season. We just want to keep you on your toes.
To be fair, I did say 1. There's nothing stopping it being the only one of the season.
I mean, if this is the only one of the entire season...
I want a prize. I want a pay rise from you.
From me?
Yeah,
as if I pay
it.
everybody's wages.
You have to pay it.
Right, you heard it here first, folks. I apparently pay
You're
everybody's
on the call.
wages. Or at least Michael Hansen-Morris thinks that I do. Maybe it'll just be a private bet amongst the commentary staff. Interested to see, following that third set, that the number of errors between the 2 teams is now tied up.
Yeah, I mean, Darkstar made, what, one hitting error in set 1?
Yes.
And now they're up to 14 on the day, so that's going to be the thing. If you can cut them down.
But it's interesting to see that a lot of their hitting errors have come now that they've been less aggressive. So it's not that they're, hitting harder and hitting it out, or, slightly missing a line or into the net or whatever. It's they're trying to be overly tentative, and either it's not making it to the net, or they're not getting a good connection, or even when they're not swinging at the ball at all, they're giving Durham a lot of free balls when, even a roll shot is better than a free ball. Just give them something to have to follow or make them chase something down.
As Hayes starts set number 4 off with a big serve. However, not in the boundaries of the court. And it'll be a cheap one for Durham to give away.
I feel like not in the boundaries is an understatement.
I mean, it was closer than one we had earlier in this game, but we definitely saw a couple yesterday that ended up in Leicester.
Yes.
So it was close on that standard as Elawani pushes that one wide, returns error for error.
I feel like we saw that exact same situation happen in the last set. Almost as if by magic.
As Brand has to wait way outside the antenna, has to squeeze the angle, and Decker beats the one-on-one block.
Great play by Durham there. They've got a great pass in. They've got so many options, so there's a one-on-one for Decker, and she's got plenty of cross-court space to go at.
As Murray misconnects on the middle attack as Thomas pushes it wide. Good opportunity there for Chloe Thomas.
Yeah, but a really well-formed block on the Darkstar side makes her aim wide on that one. But Durham looking pretty solid right now. Great pass.
As Decker responds. And Izzy Decker's really just started to get herself warmed up in this one. Started really slow, but just found some big plays early in the set to try and wrestle this momentum back into the Palatinates' favour.
I'm going to have to big up Hayes on that one because she's facing like position number 5 and then pushes a really perfect shoot ball out.
Brand against the double, off the shoulder of Maura Hayes, out of system play. Thomas waits, big block touch again, but Lindsay Legg takes the ball away from the back row defense in the attempt to keep the ball alive.
Yeah,
And
again.
Durham just starting to find ways to beat this Darkstar defense the first time of asking and cutting down this rally length. There's a low serve. It's going to be an overpass, put over by Decker, just about on the Durham side of the net, legal play.
Yeah, so Decker starting out strong again. We saw this in the last set. Interesting to see as well, it's Schrader serving that is really throwing Darkstar off.
As into the block goes JC Needs. And I think it might be an early timeout. There's definitely thoughts about it.
Yeah, there have to be
But
thoughts
well
about
lined
it.
up. And finally Durham have started to click into gear. They also stopped screening, which also helps.
Well, for this rotation, because we saw this in the last set as well. There were 1 or 2 rotations where they didn't, and
As
1 or 2
Thomas
rotations where they did.
And Hightower combine back-to-back stuffs. And there goes the timeout.
I mean, that has to be. It's
Brianna
7-2.
Crabtree also at the end of the bench checking in, close to checking in. We'll see if Darkstar make the change in the timeout, but right now this has got 5 all over it.
Yeah, at the moment, Durham look absolutely in control. This is probably more how Paul Welsh thought that the team was going to start out. And Darkstar just looked to be a little bit too scrambly. Early on, they had really great defensive touches, and it was almost like they trusted each other more, and as the matches worn on, they're trusting each other less in defense, so there's been more clashes and overlaps, which has meant that they haven't been able to return some of the balls that they would have done in sets 1 and 2. But again, Schrader's serve really off-putting for this Darkstar team.
Well, nothing more off-putting than watching the ball go on your side of the court, down on the Tower Flex 4 for an ace out of a timeout.
Yeah, so Darkstar set themselves up with almost a 2-passing service reception. But that means that your libero has to be really aggressive to take as many balls as possible.
As slide attack, we haven't seen many by Darkstar, but that's one, and Lauren Cadogan needs no invitation, connects on that one.
Yeah, really smart set as well, with that ball being, you know, not the best pass, so there's a long push to get that all the way out there for the slide, but great execution.
As Hightower with the middle attack finds the floor. It feels like she's been very quiet on the attacking end, but her blocking presence starting to come through, and now the momentum really rolling through for Durham, and they're going to make a change. Brand out, Crabtree back in.
So back to a more normal 3-person service reception here for Darkstar. Great pass.
Crabtree into the net tape. That's a rusty, cold swing, but expect no different. Outside of a couple of points, being on the bench the entire game. And right now, this is just a runaway train of Darkstar errors.
Yeah, despite some good passes, but Durham have really gotten their block locked in now. That's a poor pass there from Crabtree.
Elawani can attack from the pipe. She goes way over the baseline.
Rare error there from her. But again, if you're relying on, you know, 1 or 2 pin hitters for the entire match, they're going to be tired. We're in set number 4. They have put a shift in already. Oh, a lucky bit of a tape trickler there. As Lazewska puts that ball down onto, I think, Darkstar here, just a little bit confused about who's serving. It looks like it's going to be Crabtree. Okay, so they've just gotten that confirmed. So we can get back underway here.
And Crabtree goes into the net. The American out of Graceland University in the NAIA.
Not a great start for her. 1 hitting error, 1 service error.
That's Elawani. Not quite a true slide, but definitely an extended middle out into the gap. And Lauren Cadogan able to find the kill, and her service run earlier in the match really helped change the momentum. Can she pull together a run? Giombi has to go low, and Crabtree cannot handle the pipe attack, but again, you've got to set blockers up. It's the one person doing consistent damage in the lineup. Here's Chloe Thomas, and she takes advantage.
Oh, what a
Hightower's
serve.
aced.
That is an
Crabtree
incredible
doesn't
serve.
quite step up from position 6.
Interesting to see this because all of the aces and where Darkstar have really struggled is, as we can just see.
Oh. They're going to call an 8-second violation on Hightower. That's come out of nowhere. But as I say, a second ago, you saw the side-out team patiently waiting. I think they might be here a little bit longer. As we get close to fire. Ruffin just getting a call from the official. I mean, I wasn't paying that much attention to the whistle, not going to lie.
Now, we were too busy watching the Polonia team.
We can count 8 seconds, but we can't see screens.
Not a great pass here.
As Elawani goes tight angle, Ruffin sees it on time. Middle attempt overset by Hayes, and go off the touch. Durham going to rescue. I think it's going to be called a lift.
What actually is the call? I saw the direction, didn't see the call.
It looked like a lift.
It did look like a lift. Oh, we've got a replay called? I'm a little confused. I'm not sure
I think
exactly
I
what's
did
happened.
see the flag come up from the line here to say there was a touch, but obviously the ball was more than well alive.
Yeah.
So that was kind of an early signal. It didn't have to stop the rally, as that's an overpass. As Need goes into the block of Schrader, Darkstar going to have to put it over because multiple touches in a row. Oh, that's an open net. Schrader doesn't really attack it, and Elawani, hello!
Again, the
Just
smart
a little
heads-up play.
backhanded shuffle. I don't even know what to call that shot, but we'll call it improvised.
I mean, it looks like one of those one-handed fancy backwards setter dumps, except for she got that all the way into deep position 5, where absolutely nobody on the Durham side was because they were all just behind the 3-meter line.
It's got to be so frustrating for Durham if it sparks a Darkstar run. If not, you're all good. As Ruffin goes power line.
Over the top of Need. She does well to get over the top of that block.
As Darkstar again scrambling. Ruffin. That's a foot save by Crabtree.
They're calling
via
that ball
the floor.
down. Yeah. I thought that was an amazing dig. But what it really was an amazing swing again by Ruffin coming in with those power swings, and at 7:16, Darkstar take their second timeout. This is the sign of a team that's really struggling, as we can see.
It was a very interesting nose. Durham in the huddle. You see Ross Enfield leading that huddle. Paul Welsh was nowhere near the huddle, and he was having a very, very long conversation with Maura Hayes. So I wonder if there's something picked up on serve that he's really trying to work on there, and just pulled her for a separate conversation. Really smart coaching by Paul Welsh.
I think she's missed her last 3 serves, so it might have just been a conversation about
Ball in play.
yes. But maybe not, though. I mean, 16-7 is a good time to go for it. Oh, we're going to float serve this time.
As Eloani from the back row runs the middle. No, well, receiving in the back row. She is a front row player. That is definitely legal, but
I like that, though. Her coming in through the middle, so they're running that kind of cross-stack play. Yeah.
Obviously, outside's playing in the back for serve reception, and she gets to have another big swing. That one just off the top of the tape. Didn't take a lot off it. And Thomas goes cross-court. Big pickup by Crabtree. And Need goes into the block.
Smart swing from Need there, but I'm just going to say, actually, from Crabtree, that was a great dig. That's a tough ball to get to.
Thomas just confirms and says to Paul Welsh, I touched it. So good call, officials.
She definitely touched it. Came off her elbow, I think.
Yeah. Maybe tell your captain before she goes to the chair umpire, though. As Ruffin able to find the roll, I think.
Yeah.
Leg and Eloani somehow got a touch on it, but the problem was the touch wasn't anywhere near a teammate.
Yeah, with both of them moving forward to get to that ball, there's nobody to chase that backwards moving pass down.
As Crabtree with a impossible shot. I don't even know if I can say that hit the antenna. I think it hit everything, including the referee's stand.
Yep, just about basically on the post, that one. So out of system pass brings, so we're going to have Brand coming back in.
That's a bit, I don't think it's just for that point, but it's a little bit harsh, that one. I don't think anyone in the world's doing anything with that.
Yeah, and you know,
well,
you almost think
6'6".
You almost think, do you just leave Brand out for the rest of this set to let her relax and, you know, reset for set 5 push? Or, you know, maybe she's getting warmed back up in anticipation of a
Decker gets the isolated block again. Durham doing a much better job of holding the middle blockers. And Izzy Decker hard on the cross court.
I would love to see some action. So we have some stats here that we're keeping track of, but they're not as thorough as some of the stats that we'll get through the Super League. I'd love to see Decker's hitting efficiency for today.
As Need goes with the tip, Giombi with the pickup.
There's
the crowd didn't agree. And Darkstar get it over. And Schrader tries to keep it up, but keeps it going nowhere.
I mean, that was an interesting
point.
Yes. But a lot of noise from the crowd immediately on that ball that Giamba may or may not have gotten a pancake on. Great pass.
Thomas, Eloani. Brand goes over on 2 rather than trying to set. She'll now 9 up. Good touch by Cadogan in the front, and Brand will have the tight angle. Thomas again with a touch. And Decker has to sit and wait on the 3-meter line. Murray with the defense. That doesn't hit anything in the roof. I don't know how, but Brand can only pass over the 3 ball. Middle, Schrader. Darkstar again with 2 touches, the 3rd as well, but not over the net.
But again, you know, you see those defensive touches, and both sides of the net, you can see the ladies are huffing and puffing a bit. That is a long rally. That is a lung buster for sure. Great performances from both sides there. With Durham firmly in the lead here. Great touch there by Thomas.
As Decker into the net. There's you talking about hitting efficiency, and there's the commentator's curse.
Commentator's curse every time. I think Neil had a couple of those yesterday as well, so going to share the curse powers around. So we've had a substitution.
Morgan Donaldson in to serve. We saw in the end of, I believe it was the first set as a serving sub, also a setup as Brand goes cross court. Slides for Cadogan, well read by Durham, and Hightower gets the open net, places the ball into the back corner. But that was predictable. That's what happens with a serving sub that doesn't really want to hit in. Morgan Donaldson, like, can't run anything for her. So the slide's the only option, and Darkstar leaving her out on the court, giving Need a bit of a break. And that one played legally by Hayes. And we are rolling towards a fifth and final set here. Durham 3 points away.
What a turnaround, though. 22-11 in this fourth set. Alawani thinking that she's gotten a touch off the block there, but no touch is called. So we are squeaking ever so close to a fifth set. Please do join us in the chat. Let us know if you think there's going to be a reverse sweep today, or if you think that Darkstar will be able to close it out in that fifth set.
I was going to say a free ball, but it's a free ball for Durham all of a sudden because Duggan misplays that as the middle. Darkstar again defensively trying to find solutions. Decker touches the hand. Elowani with the stab. Brand can really attack. That one goes cross to Jenna Giombi. Decker again, touch on the block. Overpass. Durham ball. Elowani again. Tight. Jelajeska finds the point, and that's potentially a big one for Darkstar. It's 12-23, but that's the type of thing, if you can string a couple of those together, momentum is big going into set 5 with the shorter set.
Exactly. I mean, this set, you've got to write it off at this point. It's 23-12. There's not much that you can do.
Timeout Durham as well.
But it's, if you can get that momentum back, you know, we saw during that point, Alawani and the libero running into each other. They're still having a couple of those clashes where they're just not quite communicating who's taking the forward pass and who's taking the rear pass. So it's just, can they get that organized? But you can see now, somehow, in the last 2 or 3 points, Darkstar have decided, no, we really want to fight. And we're seeing some of that glimmer of, you know, defensive prowess that we saw in sets number 1 and 2. I think here, if Darkstar can get themselves to 15 before this set closes out, they'll feel like they've got more momentum going into the tiebreak.
And that's it. It's just about building momentum as we get a lovely little close-up of Ross Enfield. I'm sure he'll love that one. As Hightower goes with the push, pushes it wide. She was staring at it, hoping it dropped.
Yep. Love the idea. It's a really smart play, but very well watched as it heads out, and Lindsay Legg watches it to make sure that it goes. And an ace.
As Darkstar going to get to 15 if they're not careful, or Durham aren't careful.
Nice to see that Brand is coming back with a little bit more aggression after her time off the bench, and Paul Welsh calls a very quick second timeout.
This is the momentum play, right? The only question is, if Durham Durham lose the next 3 points, now what do you do? Are you just okay because you're at 23 and you know you're going to win 2 of the next 10?
Potentially, but I think mentally it's really tough, and I'm sure that Paul Welsh was thinking the same thing that I just said a minute ago, which is if they get to 15, it changes the momentum of this game. They've got to do something to break this up. He's got plenty of options on the bench. I don't know how warm the ladies are that are stood off to the side in the sub zone, but you know, they could make changes if they need to. So is it the time when you bring people in, give your players a rest ahead of the tie break for a couple of points?
As the Lionhearts girls killing time before their game by dancing, which things we absolutely love in the MAAREE Women's Super League. As Decker wants to put some punishment on the ball, but the defense of Durham scrambling once again. Little slide, Cadogan into the net.
A tough end to that run, but a definitely good pushback late in this fourth set from Derbyshire. They still could potentially get themselves to 15. Let's see. Oh, another one of those sort of short serves throwing them off. And then a free ball goes to Durham. But the setter takes the ball. Great dig. Elelwani, block out.
Lindsay Legg did a good job, and Hajar did as well, of avoiding each other and the ball, because that was definitely coming back. But there's your magic 15 number.
Yep, they've made it. So mentally, it's a great threshold.
It's a moral victory.
It is. It is. Gives them some momentum, regardless of what happens.
As Giombi, Ruffin goes roll. Good pick up by Morgan Donaldson.
Ooh,
good
looks
instinct.
over.
Elowani, Decker with the two-handed punch. Ruffin into the block, and there's a net touch.
Oh.
By Rachel Murray. She confirms it. And Durham takes set number 4, 25-15. And for the first time, we are going 5 in the MAAREE Women's Super League 25-20-26.
Well, so much for that bold prediction in the podcast. You are right, though. Maybe we go the whole rest of the season with no more. But we'll have to see. So now the question is... Now the question is...
Uh-oh.
What happens in set 5?
Uh-oh, we have a birthday, Jess Smith. And it's not any birthday. It's the big boss,
yep.
CEO Charlie Ford, who is behind us. There he is. The lights go down.
Oh, plenty of applause for him. He looks very surprised.
Knowing Charlie as well as I do, he definitely doesn't want this.
No. He is very much a behind-the-scenes person, but you can see how much the staff appreciate.
Uh-oh, he's lost for words. Yeah, there you go. Thanks for embarrassing. Exactly what we predicted up in the commentary booth. So, Jess, let's reset. Set number 5. I had no idea what happened with the toss, I'm not going to lie. We were too busy watching
distracted about the birthday celebrations, which, you know, fair enough.
As he has a joke with the Volleyball England staff down there. And we'll look at set 5. What did Darkstar need to do, Jess, to tidy this up? Because they've just... everything's not been crisp. It feels like fatigue has built in. First game, we talked about the depth in the pre-game show. What can you do now to flip everything ready for set 5?
I think really what they could focus on, you know, they've had a lot of trouble with Durham serving into a space between zones 3 and 6. So just behind the 3-meter line, Darkstar haven't adjusted to that. If they could take that step forward, get some solid service reception and get, you know, a little bit more height on the ball to allow them to run, you know, slightly slower ahead of the set, but then the set tempo can be quite quick. That gives them a little bit more time to adjust and get themselves set. Durham have been really solid on the block, so Darkstar will need to come in closer on that block coverage while still leaving one person back. So if they can make those couple of slight adjustments just to slow the game down so that they're not pushing themselves so hard.
As Misha, lovely physio, Beth Willett, event director, enjoying the music playing around. I'm sure she'll be delighted that's on camera.
Oh, you missed it this morning.
Great.
Misha was up here dancing
at
the screen. And I had wished that JC was around to capture that on camera because...
So, score sheet's still going in. As you can see, the Lionhearts girls dancing. keeping themselves loose and entertained. Long wait for them, because if you'd said an hour ago, we would have said you might be on court starting in first serve in 9 minutes. That's definitely not happening.
Yes. Not this time. It's so good to see them happy and excited to be here. I know I'm excited to be here for opening weekend. Just waiting for the lineup check up. Durham not stood in their rotational position, so second referee wasn't able to complete that check. It's now sorted out.
Fun over, business time. Hightower, Hayes, Ruffin, Giombi, Schrader, Thomas and Decker on the court for Durham in the purple. And for Darkstar, Brand, Murray, Leg, Elawani, Need, and Loyeska, the server, who will get us underway in set number 5. Race to 15. MAAREE Women's Super League opening day, as Hayes does a great job keeping that one alive, but it's going to be an attacking advantage for Durham. Elawani kick save, but that second touch. And a big block to start set 5 for Durham.
Yeah, big block there from Thomas to shut that one down. Again, Durham are going back to stacking and switching. Oh, she's moved now. That's a good pass in though.
As Decker, great pickup by Leg, the libero. But all Need can do from the left side is touch it over. Thomas misses the baseline, not by a lot.
That's a great leave. I don't know if that was luck or skill that El Alawani said that ball's out, but it was just a bit. You can see now the players have been going for quite some time now. Might have a few more breaks in this 5th set for the towel to make sure that there's no moisture on the court.
And now it's Darkstar with the screen.
I think they're really just doing it because Durham have been doing it.
Yeah, 100%. But Decker gets it returned back, but still advantage. Tip, kick save. Hajar Elawani wasn't looking for the ball. And that Darkstar defense that we saw in set 1 and 2 is just not quite fired.
Yeah, smart tip play again from Thomas, who has opened us up with being involved in all of the first 3 points.
And it's a 2-1 Palatinates lead, as Ellie Schrader, who's had one of the best serves in this game, beats Alice Brand. And Lindsay Legg can't chase it down. Great effort by the American libero.
Yeah, we mentioned Schrader's serve in the last set. This is where Darkstar have struggled the most. So they've changed where they are rotationally for this matchup.
She gets beaten on the ace. That one dipping quickly, and Ellie Schrader, the Durham secret weapon from the serving line, and Audrey Cooper, Maria Badelli went, I need a timeout. Buzzer gets hit, and Ellie Schrader doing the damage once again from the service line. Not often you see middles being the best servers, but that's been the case for Durham, and they have, boy, have they needed it.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's interesting because you see a lot of float serves in the women's game, but you see so many teams struggle with reception on a float serve. But genuinely, I think what needs to happen here is the Darkstar service reception group needs to take a half a step forward or be prepared to move forward on that ball. They're not attacking this float serve enough. It's dipping as soon as it crosses the net.
Schrader, that was tight. Brand choosing the safe option. Elawani gets the block touch.
Great
Schrader
swing.
in the back row. Can serve, not quite as mobile on that back unit.
Yeah, again, you know, Giambi's been really great in defense, but having a middle in that 5 position means that going cross court is probably your best option.
Murray with the push to the back corner. Hightower tries to go over. Recycle. Good play by Cadogan to keep it alive. Decker plays for the hands. Decker misses the hands. And it's a Darkstar point.
I mean, I still think her hitting efficiency for this match is going to be through the roof, despite that error.
Third 5-set game of the weekend. Decker picks up Brand, and JC needed about another 50 centimetres of room on that court to really make a play at that ball. Didn't fancy diving over the scorer's table.
I mean, it looks like the scorers were ready for protecting themselves from a player flying over the top of them.
As Leg plays it, Elawani has to set. Brand decides to be passive. And it's a setter dump by Maura Hayes, front row, just casual as you like. Darkstar waiting for the set. And it's a 3-point Durham lead, 6-3.
Hayes was so relaxed there, but she was stood at the net with one hand up, and everybody on the Darkstar side just watched it happen.
I mean, advantage of being 6-2, as Thomas gets that all levels of wrong.
Sometimes you get a bad toss, it happens, but when you're leading in the tie break, 6-3 at the time she served that ball. Not the worst time to have an error, so we're going to have a substitution for Darkstar here.
So, Need out, Donaldson in. You assume this is a very aggressive early serving sub. We wouldn't expect Donaldson to stay and hit. We'll find out. As the ball set for Thomas, and that pipes the back row, and that was not what Chloe Thomas was expecting. You expect that ball to go to the right. It went to the left, but that's a tremendous hit.
Yeah, that's a great swing from Thomas. She looked completely set up for that inside-out ball going towards position 5, and then somehow just went straight with her shoulder despite where she was turned at.
As Decker goes over the baseline.
I'm not sure if Alice Brand was leaving that ball because she was sure that it was out, or if she was just leaving that ball because she wasn't sure.
Oh, I mean, that was comfortably long, I think, so we'll give Brand credit. She's played anything that she thinks tight. Alice Brand has tried to play today. As Hajar Elawani makes Decker to Davidson grad work for it. Tight set, and there's a big net touch. And they're going to give the pull. They're going to give the point to Durham, and I'll be honest, I'm surprised.
I am also surprised. I mean, that was a smart play by Ruffin, but that to me looked like a massive swipe on the net.
You know what? Looking at the replay, I'm less sure.
Yeah? You think it was the ball?
Ruffin covered a lot of ground, that's one thing.
Yeah.
I think it's the ball that comes off the net. I think that's a great pickup.
Yeah. But it was a really smart play. She's coming in, got to come inside. There's not a lot she can do with that ball. It's really tight, really low by the time she gets there. We've got Hightower on the service line.
Oh! First player yellow card of the season, I believe. Hajar Elawani not agreeing with the call, gets a yellow. 8-5, Hightower to serve. Perfect pass by Brand. Cadogan on the slide, picks up Thomas. Ruffin, empty net, makes no mistake.
Ooh. I'm waiting for the one-up dings from Stan over here, but that is not the right replay. It's fine. It was a hammer, though. If you did miss it, you can rewind on your own.
That's exactly what we did for the last point. As Schrader can't connect cleanly. Brand, who's been quiet, finds the seam of the block. No press, and Alice Brand wins a big one.
Really smart push down the front of that middle blocker. Schrader hadn't quite closed herself all the way up to the net. And impressive, but that's only the second earned point that Darkstar have.
Schrader, Thomas hidden well behind the blockers. Elawani scrambling, get there. Brand waits, little push, and can't get there. Chloe Thomas back-to-back Alice Brand, and a 2-point gap is manageable as Alyssa Ruffin goes off to get a towel.
Really impressive fight back here from Darkstar.
And it's definitely a pro Darkstar crowd.
Yes, it is. Well, they are local, you know. Maybe they walked here? Some of them?
You would assume, I'm assuming Alice Brand's family is most definitely here.
Yeah. But Darkstar looking to try and make things happen for themselves these last couple of points. Can they keep up the momentum?
Hayes, Ruffin off the hands. Elawani, loads of time to get there. Great block touch again. Brand for 3 in a row. Thomas keeps it alive. Ruffin again, monster deflection. Brand gets it back, scrambling. Elawani's going to give up the free ball. Giombi. Ruffin, another big touch. Gleska and Murray on the block. Victoria goes over on the second. No one's there. Elawani, the right hand doesn't connect.
I mean, that was a great scramble. You can see a little bit tired after that rally. But really great play from both sides. Some really impressive containing block touches from both teams, slowing that ball down.
As the out call was late, Hajar played it, goes pipe. Decker, right spot. Thomas pulled way inside, tries to go inside out on the swipe. Alice Brand, big chase, that's going to hit over the net. Thought it was going to hit the umpire for a second. That's what I was ready to call.
Just about. But really smart play. I'm liking the increased aggression here from Darkstar in this 5th set. I mean, you have to be aggressive. That was part of what they were missing in the last 2 sets. So now
10-8, but how did Darkstar win a couple of points on serve? That's going to be the big question.
I mean, Glaziska has been quite effective.
So has Ruffin late in this game as Murray can't quite get there. Paul Welsh asking a question. Oh, I think he was just double checking. He's got 2 timeouts left, or 1. Obviously, it's showing on the Durham side, but that's because of the end swap mid-set. As Brand Need with a big one on the cross court. Thomas deflected by Murray, and Durham are 3 away from the reverse.
Yeah, really tough. You could see there that Murray didn't make her way all the way out to Thomas. She had been following Schrader in the middle as Darkstar, I think, are calling a timeout. There we go. So that's their second timeout. But what a turnaround. I think both teams have turned things up to 11 in this 5th set, and it's just who wants it more. And right now it feels like Durham are in more control of things. They've cleaned up their service reception. They've cleaned up their defense. That means that they're running a faster offense. They're becoming more creative in that offense. Darkstar this set so far have had some really great containing block touches. They've done some great defensive touches. You know, it's almost there, but they need that consistency. But I think, again, this comes back to what we were saying before. They don't have a deep bench, so having that consistency all the way through a 5-set match, despite having your pin hitters that you're relying on quite a lot, being a little bit tired now.
So Brand pulls the setter to the 3-meter line, gets it back, is shut down by Izzy Decker.
I think that
And
might
that
be Decker's
might
first
just
block.
be the dagger monster block. Izzy Decker took a while to get going, but down the stretch has been big.
Absolutely textbook there from Decker. Good pass.
Brand goes with the tip. Great pickup by Gio. Picks up Needs. JC Needs going to get it back. Big double block from Thomas and Schrader. Elawani waits for it from the pipe and finds the angle.
Wow. To say that she had to stop her entire approach, still get up there and put that much whip on the ball, Durham didn't know what was coming at him.
And she now goes front court. Realistically, every ball should be going her direction if they get a chance. But you've got to put service pressure on, and that's Captain Alice Brand's job.
Yep. She's matched up against Thomas, though. That's going to be tough.
Thomas. Leska puts it in the back corner. Another one-on-one isolation. Hajar can't quite line up the block. And the Palatinates have 5 match points.
Yeah, really tough matchup, that one. You know, Thomas is quite big. She's an aggressive hitter. And Alawani there was cheating a little bit too far in towards high tower to give herself enough time to close that block effectively.
As Brand. There's Hajar into the block. Block out by high tower. And Darkstar saved the first of 5 match points.
I think Durham thought that ball was into
No
the tape.
serving subs, so Rachel Murray with the responsibilities hasn't made a service error today. Ruffin. Decker for the match, wins it, and Durham reverse sweep. Darkstar Derbyshire.
What a swing
and
from
follow the
Decker.
men.
So deserved for her to close that out. She had been solid throughout. I still want to see her hitting efficiency stats. I'm sure we'll talk about that on the podcast this week.
My prediction's still valid, thank you. It may not be in 2
I was
hours'
just going to
time.
say, let's wait to see what happens for the rest of today.
Yeah, definitely do that.
And then if it is wrong, if your prediction does go wrong, I
Yeah.
will definitely wrench you at some point today with all of the love in the world. What an opening match, though. That was so exciting.
That was fun, and credit to Durham because set 1 and 2, they just didn't look at the races. There was no consistency whatsoever, and they just grew into the game. And for Darkstar, feels like the depth is an issue.
The question is this going to be a pattern for Durham throughout the season? Are they going to start out slow and then pick things up? Because if they're dropping 1 point in every match or in most of their matches, we've talked about this several times. There's only 8 teams. You can't be dropping points. You can't be dropping sets, really. So are we going to get to the end of the season and find that this is what stops them from finishing top or even maybe finishing top 4? And in just a few moments' time, we're going to have a chat with our player of the match.
Yeah, and we'll say in this, obviously we're going to bring up a Durham player, but we need to talk about Hadja real quickly. That was a monster performance, a step up, 24 kills, 3 aces. Obviously a few errors crept in late in the game, but she was a big difference maker for Darkstar and really kept the team in it.
Yeah, she really did, and I think even more important at times than the number of attacks that she had, because she was so proficient. She was so good in defense. She made some incredible touches to keep balls alive that, had no right to even be kept off the floor.
And who knows, long term, maybe it's a point gained rather than a point lost. We will find out down the line. We don't know how the league table is going to shape up.
Exactly. So, Darkstar have come out for a really solid start, and we're going to be joined in just a moment for our player of the match, and I'm not going to tell you who it is. I'm going to let Michael introduce her on screen in just a moment, but thank you for joining, and stay tuned.
And here, courts, above the balcony, with our player of the game, Chloe Thomas. Chloe, you watched the men yesterday. Why did you decide to try and follow their path?
It wasn't that I was trying to copy them. I think we both definitely had welcome to the league moments. We weren't expecting, to have to really climb out of that. So, it's kind of a good trend, isn't it? 2 wins.
2 wins. Obviously, just talk about the conversation at the end of set 2. You're 2-0 down. You're clearly not playing your best volleyball. So what was Paul Welsh and the team saying to kind of just refocus and regroup?
Yeah, we just knew that this wasn't the level of play that we normally execute at. We knew who we were and that we weren't playing like that. So I think that... Ooh.
Don't wait. Go again.
Okay. Start over.
I'll ask you the second one again, but just talk about that regrouping in the end of the second set. Obviously, you got a lot of leadership, but you got a new group, but Paul obviously has been instrumental in that. So what was kind of that chat about?
Yeah, I think we all are leaders. We all were leaders coming from where we came from. So I think we're all waiting for someone to step up, and then we all decided why not just all do it. So I think everyone on the court stepped up, everyone on the bench. We were just all really in it and, stepped into that leadership position. And
talk about your matchup. Obviously, you had Hajar Elorani on the other side, 28 points apiece for you and Hajar. So just talk about how that gets the best out of you when you see the opposite flying around in set 1 as well.
I don't even know. It's really just the team backing you. You're supported. You know that you have your team covering you. You can just go out and swing as hard as you can. You got your team on your back.
Well, Chloe, we'll let you go get cooled down. Congratulations on the comeback victory.
Thank you.
That's the thoughts of Chloe Thomas. We'll be back in about 10 minutes for Lionhearts versus Side Out.